All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of Titanic Zombies podcast. And today I got here.
Matthew Walker. Good to be back.
All right.
Well, I guess on this one for the first time, but back in front of a camera.
Yeah, Matt, if you don't know, he does homemade porn. So he's,
oh my God.
Yeah, he's been out of work for a little bit. He hasn't been in front of the camera for a while.
Yeah, I have to wear a mask. I have to wear a mask when I do it.
All right. So, Matt, tell us what you're into.
What I'm into? I mean, that's kind of a broad
Other
question.
than men.
Other than, okay. Well, that's a big one, but no, I'm kidding. No, I love politics. I'm a big follower of self-development. I love self-development. What else do I like? Politics, self-development. I like to gym. I haven't done it in a while because the Conhulio China virus sickness, unfortunately, but I do like that, and I guess that fits in the same category, self-development. I am a salesman professionally. So I like to sell things, yeah, all kinds of stuff.
What is your opinion on Fortnite taking Boogie Bombs out for the longest time?
Well, I'm just glad they brought him back as of today, in fact, as of this new
played
season drop. You haven't played it? Yeah, well, I was glad they were back until someone killed me with them, so I was like, wow, really? Well,
I didn't play Fortnite for the longest time, and then when I played it again, there was cars.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you saw the cars?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm always driving the race car in there, dude. It's super fast. You got to fill it up with gas so the thing runs out quick.
I saw a video. Are you able to build while you're in the car? I saw a video of someone building, and they were driving up.
I don't think you can if you're the driver, but you can if you have a passenger, and they'll like build you a stair, and you're like, like flying and shit. Especially if you're in like a fast car. But the truck is good off road, so it's good on road. It's slow on road, slower than the other cars. But it's faster on the like hills and the grassy areas. So sometimes the truck can come in clutch too. Like I'm talking about like the pickup truck, not the semi truck, but.
All right, Matt. So tell us about Epstein's Island. Matt actually been there.
No, I have
30
not.
times.
Never.
Beat Bill Clinton's record.
Oh my gosh. Bill Clinton's at 26. We know that. That's factual.
He just got a massage, man. I don't get what the problem is. It was just a massage.
I saw that, dude. Same day as the convention too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
DNC convention. That was a bore.
What
The DNC convention. It was hard to stay awake, keep your eyes open during that thing. The RNC, see the difference between the two is that the DNC is super negative, sad, depressing messaging.
All they did was talk about Trump. That's what
all they do is hate on. It's just hate Trump, bash Trump, and there's no positive message. It's that, and then on top of that, it's hate America. You know, this country sucks, all this stuff, and they're just telling you about that. And then, but we're gonna come in. We've been in office. Biden and Harris have been in office Harris probably for decades. Biden for longer than that. Both of them been in office for decades. And they're like, oh, but now if you give us power, we're gonna fix all the things we never did before. So I think that's kind of a ridiculous thing to. I mean, if you're voting for Biden and Harris, or if you're in that camp, I mean, I don't see how you could be, because they've both been in there and
anyone
not
but
done
Trump,
anything.
Right?
What was that?
Anyone but Trump.
Anyone but Trump? What do you mean?
Anyone but Trump.
Oh, is that their
that's the
ideology? Their
well,
slogan?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils. But I don't agree with that standpoint. I mean, I don't see what Trump's done badly. I think Trump's done really good things personally. I think he's a good leader. In fact, I have friends of mine. One of my friends, I won't use his name, but I was speaking to him somewhat recently, a couple months ago, and he's always been more left-leaning, liberal. But he told me, "Hey, Matt," he's like, because he knows I'm a big Trump supporter. He's, "Hey, Matt."
A white cis male Christian too, Trump supporter.
Yeah, I'm
any
not sure what it is.
there?
I don't know if he follows religion or not. But he told me, he's like, "Hey, Matt, he's a really successful guy too. He's an accountant, really intelligent. He was voted, I remember in high school or junior high, one or the other, but he was voted most likely to succeed. And he always had like straight A's, really smart guy. And he's always been more left-leaning liberal. But he told me, he's like, "Hey, Matt, I'm voting for Trump this time around." I'm like, "Really? I never thought I heard you say that. Why is that?" And he was like, because he's like, "Well, honestly, I think he's a good leader. Like, I think he says he's going to do something and he does it. He, stands up for what he believes in. He doesn't care what the mob has to say." And that's what I respect the most about Trump, is that he's willing to go against the PC culture and, do what he thinks is right. And, and I think that's commendable. And I also think he's just like a man. Like when all that stuff happens, like he's not afraid to go against the mob. And I think that takes courage. And I think it takes a lot less courage to go during these times, against to go for Black Lives Matter. And then then on Trump's side, you're going against it. And I think that takes a lot more courage.
What's your problem with Black Lives Matter?
So I have no problem with the message. I mean, but I think that Black Lives Matter, they have the assumption that everybody or nobody agrees that Black Lives Matter. I think that's BS. I think that's it's a given. So, and then when people say, and then they argue, people say, well, all lives matter. Well, I think that's true too. But so I have no problem with the message. I have a problem with the organization though. And I don't like that they talk about how they want to eliminate the nuclear family. They want to end the patriarchy. So they want to continue this policy of taking the dad or the father figure out of the house. And I think that's the one of the biggest thing that's destroyed Black communities is not having the father figure in the house. It's like I don't remember what it was, the actual percentage, but I want to say it was like in the 60s or 70% of Black kids grow up without a dad in the house. And I think that's a terrible thing. I think you need a mother and a father, or a feminine and a masculine figure.
What about two dads?
Two dads. That's a good question. I mean, my personal belief has actually changed over time, and I'll tell you. My personal belief is as long as there's a strong feminine figure and a strong masculine figure, it doesn't matter if you're
one of the guys has to be a feminine gay.
Well, I think that it's important for a child growing up to get both of those. They need the nurturer, but then they also need the tough love too from the the father masculine figure. So I think it's important for that, and I think that that's something that I just can't support Black Lives Matter as an organization for that reason, and also because they admitted that they're Marxists, the heads of it. So I can't get on board with communism. I love my country. I was always born and raised being told like this is a great country, and I actually when I was younger. I got really into, and I've always been into it, like conspiracies. When I was younger, I was really into like the UFO phenomenon and like the
How do you feel about the what was it, the Pentagon releasing it?
The UFO footage. Well, once
do you think it was a detour? Do you think that was a detour to get people talking
deflection?
About yeah,
I think it could be. Well, I think it's once the Pentagon and like the government starts revealing it, then I'm like, okay, well, why are they telling us it's real now? Because then that makes me think there's an agenda behind it. So I don't trust the government. But when I was growing up, I remember like thinking, like, man, this place, because I was studying all this stuff, and I was like, the government's super corrupt, like. I don't really like that. And I was talking to my dad about it. I was like, I don't know if America's, this great place, if the government's this bad, it's this corrupt. And he told me, he's like, son, we do have this stuck with me. He was like, we do have a very corrupt government. He's like, but it's still the greatest country in the world. And for some reason, that just always stuck with me. And ever since then, I've just always loved this country.
What about Canada?
Canada?
Everyone talks about Canada.
They have sucky healthcare. I know that. But aside from that, the UFO phenomenon, I was really into that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's refreshing to have a leader, a commander-in-chief that doesn't come from the insider class, and that's why they hate him. I think it's really for a sensible person, basic, level intelligence. I mean, if you look at what's happening, you see how they've been trying to knock him out. They did it with impeachment. They did it with the Russiagate. They did it with the Ukraine scandal. All this crap. They've just been trying to get him out of office ever since he came in, and they failed. And then now they're trying to do it with Biden and Harris. I mean, obviously it's an election. There's always going to be one. But they're trying to use the coronavirus as a method of, making Trump look bad. And then they inflate the deaths. They, amount a car accident. They say, oh, they had coronavirus according to the rapid testing. So then they throw that into the death pool. And I just don't think that so I think that they're just trying to use all these different things.
What do you think about mail-in voting? Universal mail-in voting.
To be honest, I'm not too like well researched on all of it. Personally, I think that, I don't think it sounds unreasonable to have a voter or to have an ID in order to vote. You know what I mean?
Weren't they going to try to take out the signatures?
What was that?
They're going to try to take out the signatures so you don't have to sign the ballot in order to...
That's weird.
But something that's also kind of dumb is both the House and Congress are needed to talk it out and make a second stimulus bill, right?
The House and the Senate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
House and Senate. They need to talk it out, make a second stimulus bill. Mm-hmm. But the Democrats have this, $3 trillion thing they want to pass. Republicans don't want to pass something that large.
Yeah.
A lot of it, though, is I think $1 trillion of it is bailing out all the
Democrat
crap. All the Democrat cities are the ones that are doing the worst. Mm-hmm. And Nancy Pelosi is California, and California is incredibly desperate for money right now.
So is New York too.
Yeah.
New York, that's what's his name? The
Bellagio.
Not Fredo. Well, Bellagio too. Man, he sucks. He's the mayor.
Did you see that he used taxpayer money to paint the Black Lives Matter thing in front of the Trump Tower?
Did he?
Yeah. Oh, and then people were like, well, if you're going to use taxpayer money to do that, then I want to make America great again thing. Yeah. And then he said Black Lives Matter transcends
Have you seen his daughter?
Uh-uh.
She's like, I mean, if you look, you can tell they're both like activists, and you just like elected an activist, put him into office. It's ridiculous. His daughter, though, oh my gosh. I'll pull up an image of her, but she's freaky, bro. Like, she looks like.
In a good way? Or
no. Oh my gosh. What was her name? Let me see. Bill de Blasio, right? de Blasio.
Yeah.
Daughter. I'll show you. It's her mugshot I'm about to show you.
You talk closer to the mic.
Oh, I'm closer to the mic. Should I show the camera this?
I mean, I feel like they could look it up on the sound. Dang.
That's his daughter.
What?
And that was her mugshot after she like got arrested for some form of activism she was participating. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's been a while.
That's odd.
Yeah, that's a freaky looking human, man. I'm just like, no, not about that life. But yeah, I mean, the way I see it is, we just got to we got to start bringing in people that aren't from the insider class and aren't, in the world of politics already. That's why I liked when, I voted for Trump because he's a businessman. I thought we needed our books to be balanced. We had like a crazy debt. We still do. It's been going up. But I mean, he makes the argument, and I think it's a fair argument, is that he had to rebuild the military. They had no ammunition. They were, in a significantly weakened state after the Obama years. So I think that, he had to divert a lot of funds and spend a lot more money rebuilding the military. And maybe after this 4-year term, he'll start cutting into the deficit. I think he will. But I think he's already going to, or already has started with, the Chinese deal and all that stuff, the deal with China, which we'll see if they honor it, But,
you think we're going to go to war with China? They're taking away TikTok, so it might happen.
Yeah, dude, the TikTok stars are going to boot up. But, I mean, I don't think so. I hope not. I mean, I don't want to
kill Jeremy.
No, I think we have like an economic kind of war with them already. So I think it's possible. But yeah, I mean, I think China's a real threat. We should stop looking at Russia as hard. I mean, I do think Russia is a threat as well, like a potential enemy. But personally, I think that China's a bigger threat. I mean, they have like all our, they've been robbing us for years, like our economy and, stealing our intellectual property. Like 500, they're saying like 500 million, like I think 500 billion, so $500 billion a year just at intellectual property theft, which isn't good. And then, they have things like, they have hardware like in Apple and everything. So like China like pretty much owns Apple now. So like I have a iPhone. A lot of people do.
Isn't it like every phone that people have wasn't built in the U.S.?
Yeah, a lot of them, and a lot of them are built in China. And that's like our main enemy. So I mean, you have like everybody knows they're being their voices recorded. They're being like tracked at all times because you sign the terms and conditions, and no one wants to read 100 however many pages it is of terms and conditions that they don't understand anyways. So, and then, if they don't agree, they can't use a smartphone. So they're just going to agree to it. They're kind of backed into a corner. And then when all the, hardware that goes into the thing, when all the hardware that goes into your phone is, all made in China, then it makes you wonder, like, man, are they listening? Like, do they have all our data? Of course they do. That's really why. That's the deal.
Porn history?
China. Yeah, man. Oh my
Tranny
gosh.
porn? You and Alex Jones?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Did he ever have an excuse for that?
He did. I don't remember what it was. He said, I want to say he was like, well, yeah, I was, looking up something on my phone, and, it was just, one of those, like, when the ad pops up and you accidentally click it, it just, like, came up. I don't know if that's true or not, but, yeah. I do love Alex Jones, though, despite that.
Did you see that, like, a lot of stuff, like, I think it was recently, Owen Schroyer brought it up with a lot of the stuff that they
Owen Schroyer?
Yeah.
Are you a Schroyer follower?
Well,
I love Schroyer.
It was just like it was him, Alex Jones, and they were endorsing the political candidate in Florida is what it was.
Who was it?
They're doing just like some talking. I don't remember her name, but it was like some female Republican, and she ended up winning. Trump voted for her.
I know. I think I know your top. Oh, it was Laura Loomer.
Yeah,
I saw that, dude. I was blown away when I saw that she had the victory. I was like, no,
because she didn't have any social media. They banned her on everything.
They banned her off everything. She had no like platform to like build off of, like social media platform. So. And then, years ago, I remember like seeing her, she was really upset because they took her off everything. She had nothing left. And she's like a, really hardcore, I guess, like kind of counterculture activist, which I respect to a degree. I mean, I have nothing against activism as a whole, so long as it's not just more PC crap, more, just communist propaganda. Because I mean, really all this BLM crap, all it is just.
Excuse me?
All this BLM crap, not saying Black Lives Don't Matter. I'm saying that the organization BLM and then all the riots and all that, this is what like it looks like when there's a communist takeover. It's really freaky. If you look at how all those happen, it's the same deal. And then so they're just using, and I think this is something I actually researched a lot, is that communists back in the day, like back in like early 1900s, identified basically the struggle we have in America with our racial differences. They identified that as our weakest point, and that was something they always were going to use as a basically a means to push their agenda was the race issue that we have here. So really, if you look at it, I mean, over the years, they've just been fomenting all this. And then, we had the Ferguson riots. I remember seeing that when I was like 18, 19 years old, and just like not recognizing it, like our country, like just being like, this is our country. Like we do this, we riot, this doesn't look like America to me. And I don't know. I just always growing up and stuff, I just always had this like nostalgia for like when people were proud of this country and people would, be unified. I don't see what's attractive. This is coming from me. I don't see what's attractive about just hating this country and just talking about how much it sucks or how that's like intellectual speak at all. I think it's better. I mean, you can recognize the flaws, but you have to understand that there's like America is very exceptional as well. It's one in, it's the greatest country to ever exist. It's the beacon to the world. If we fall, the rest of the world will follow. I think it's interesting, in fact, that when Trump got elected around the world, like the UK, Brexit happened, and then other places like China, the Hong Kong protests kicked off. They started, fighting for their freedom and being more active there. And it's unfortunate what happened, but it's just interesting.
It is weird. Colin Kaepernick, where that NBA signed a humongous deal with China.
Yeah.
So he's like the forefront
spokesman for China.
He's the spokesman for freedom of speech with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
But then they asked him about the protests happening over there, and he just just acts like he doesn't know about it.
Yeah, it's because they're weaklings. They're not really serious about the issues at all. They just like, oh yeah, BLM.
Well, I think he's serious about his. I think there's a difference. Like he's serious about his own race issues. But when it comes to those, it's just like, well, it's not my color of skin. So.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of the way. I think it's more of that group mentality of like
mob mentality.
Yeah. Well, the mob mentality, but like I share the same skin color as you do, so you and I are a unit.
That's stupid. Yeah, that's not the way I see it. And then
that's kind of like what
they believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they say things like melanin in his soul and all this crap. So like that's what's racist. Like saying melanin in his soul. Like if you're not, darker skinned or you're white or whatever, then you don't have a soul. That's to me, that's incredibly racist.
I think we're gonna lose a lot of black people this election because if they don't vote for Joe Biden, then they're not black.
I remember that, man. I remember that. If you want to look at racism, a history of racism, Joe Biden's a really prime example. I mean, he said he feared for, this is back when segregation was first like happening and all that stuff, or desegregation rather. And after like various different, civil rights things were being passed, he said he feared his children growing up in an ethnic jungle. And he said all this stuff. But now he says, oh, Black Lives Matter. So as long as they say it, their actions don't. It's funny. I think the liberals have just, and I don't want to, blanket every liberal because not all of them are like this. But, the loud minority, I like to call them, they've really just they don't think actions matter. They only listen to the words, and then they interpret the words however they want them. So if Trump says something they don't like, then they just spin it and make it seem like much worse than what he actually intended. They don't use context, and then they tell you, oh, context and all this stuff. It's nonsense, man. And
I think there's an agenda within mainstream media, and I think everyone saw it recently with the kid who died. 5-year-old kid got shot in the head by that black man. And CNN didn't report on it for 3 days, but like all the conservative news outlets did. And then they wrote articles about how none of these mainstream media outlets were covering, a black man killing a little kid.
Yeah, well, the way I see it, man, is why does it have to be race anyways? Like, why does it have to be a black man? Why does it have to be a white man? Why does it have to? It's just a human condition.
Not only that, but like everyone was talking about how it's, the race, it's racist for the, no one agreed with the George Floyd thing, but they made it into a race issue with a white man kneeling on a black man's neck.
Yeah, they made that iconic. Yeah.
Why wasn't it a black man shooting a white 5-year-old kid?
I agree with that.
It was more so of, man shoots 5-year-old in the head. Type of thing. And from what I heard, they didn't use his picture in any of the articles. So
really, I don't doubt it. Yeah, I mean,
they didn't use the picture of that dude who ran over that chick. I think it was in Oregon. Remember, they were protesting on the highway, and the dude ran her over.
Oh, that's right.
And it was like a black man, and they didn't use his picture at all.
Really?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. I just don't get it. I mean, I just thought that, I just think that we're going backwards rather than going forward. I think we conquered, I'm not saying completely, but I think a large part, probably 95%, we've conquered racism. I think that, like we were talking about earlier, our generation, like we have it so good that we blow up the smallest things. It's just like when you, like a rich person, for example, who has never struggled, then, they have no real problem. Like, how am I going to pay rent? Things like that. Their problem then becomes, oh my gosh, he said, she said kind of stuff. That's their life. That's their biggest problem. Just the gossip, right? So that's what you kind of descend into. So when your generation has never experienced like something, and you've just been, into peacetime for so long, then all of a sudden someone's going to come out. It's no fun. So they have to find an issue to pick at to, I don't know, just to blow up out of proportion.
What do you think the next 2 years? I'd give it 2 years. I think next 2 years of America
has to hold.
No, yeah, 2 years in the future. Where do you think America's going?
I think it's going in. You know what? I think
it's going to get worse before it gets better. But how worse is it going to get before it gets better? Like, what's the tipping point there?
I think it's going to. I agree with that. I think it's going to get worse in the short term, but I think in the long term it's going to get better, because I think sensible people, which they don't get a platform as often. I think that.
Well, yeah, a lot of the suburban households are just like, I want to keep my job. I'm not going to go out there and like start.
It's a silent majority, we call them.
Yeah, but once the Antifa starts walking into their neighborhoods, I think.
Yeah, well, Antifa's just a bunch of soy boys, dude. So, I mean, they got numbers, but they don't. I mean, besides that,
did you see the Chaz thing? Someone brought up a really good. I didn't even think about it when they did the thing in Seattle. That Chop or Chaz, whatever they called it. They immediately set up borders, and
I know. It's like, oh wait, I thought we didn't want borders. I thought, no borders, no wall, no USA at all. Things like that, It's a joke, man. I know. Antifa's a bunch of soy boys. I've been drinking soy for years, but yeah, no, I mean.
You just had gum that probably had soy in it.
Probably right. No, I know it has. Move closer again, man. I'm not good at this thing. All right, what other questions we got? Was I on one just now?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh gosh.
Good man, right? What do you think about
Hell no. Epstein. What do I think about Epstein?
You didn't watch the documentary, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think Epstein committed suicide. I'll tell you that much.
I don't think he did either. Do you think he's still alive? There's like little.
No, I think he's dead.
I think they needed to kill him because
I think it was the deep state, and I'm not even gonna say who. I'm not gonna say it was Hillary Clinton or it was Bill Clinton or it was the Clintons at all. All I'm saying is I think that there were so many people tied up in that. It could have been anyone, just like with JFK. I think JFK was totally a planned thing. It wasn't just some guy just wanted to murder the president, like they say. Lee Harvey Oswald. Whatever.
What do you think about Trump wishing Ghislaine Maxwell? When he said, "I wish her well."
So
that was a big controversial thing.
Again, context though. I mean, I'm not just always defending Trump all the time. Like I hate that. Like I hate if it seems like that, and that's not what I'm trying to do. When he said, I wish her well, he's saying like I hope that she doesn't get suicided as well, because we want to see where this goes. Like he wants to see who's all implicated, and I do too. I mean, if she just gets murdered, I don't want to see her get murdered. I'm not saying she's a good person either.
Do you think something's gonna happen? I think if something happens to her, did you see that the judge's kid died?
Oh, the judge that was going after?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that. I'd have to look at it.
Well, the judge that was going to do the case or whatever. Like, there was a guy dressed up, I think, in like FedEx or whatever, and they just started shooting. And I think they killed her kid.
But you had an iPhone all this time.
Huh?
I thought you had an iPhone. Is that an iPhone?
I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a lot newer than mine. Is yours pink?
Yeah, it's the iPhone XS Max. I got. Well, yeah. Well, this is the only one they had because I wanted the 256 gig one. But I just took my case off of it because.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
It feels so much better.
So much better. Mine has a case. Whenever I take it off, I don't want to put it back on. But mine also never breaks because I always have a case on it. So.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I think it feels better and I like it better without the case on. I've had it off for like a few weeks now, and I haven't dropped it. The only thing is,
like that China tech, right?
Like
there?
I barely ever drop it, so I'm like, okay, well, it's fine. But the thing is about not having a case is the one time you do drop it, it's kind of fucked. So you got to make sure you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far I've been doing pretty good about it.
We gonna talk self-development at all?
5G.
5G. I knew you were gonna ask this question. In fact,
Trump wants to implement 5G in his plan.
I know he does.
What do you think about that?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like 5G.
Bro, you could download Call of Duty in like 1 minute. 100.
Well, the thing is, 5G is not even the fastest thing out there, and it's got all.
Well, it depends. There's two different versions of 5G.
Well, the fastest one is
where that has to be on every single block.
Yeah. Well, the fastest internet connection you can get is from fiber optics, and they have that in Israel. To be fair, though, I mean, it's a lot more expensive, but I mean, Why would we, not, invest in the best of the best? We're in 2020. We're like, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, in 2020, we're gonna have like flying cars and all that stuff. Here we are, like we got smartphones.
We're gonna have sex robots that just do our
Oh my god, it's a pickup on our every need. No,
wash the dishes.
Well, they're like basically your wife at that point. Oh my gosh, dude. They got those in Japan. I know that. They have a huge problem in Japan where there's a lot more men than there is women. And the women, like, I guess because of that discrepancy, there's so many like incel single men over there. So it's kind of a freaky thing to think about,
You wanna go over there?
Hell no. I don't know.
You know what's funny? A lot of people talk about how America's racist, but there's good videos out there that talk about like when you go to other countries, they're racist against Americans. Like I think it was Ice Poseidon. He went to Japan, and one of the people were there like, yeah, they don't really like Americans, so you can't, like, if you get in trouble, if you go to jail here, if you do anything that off-puts it, it's gonna be a hard time getting you out.
Oh, that sucks.
Do you ever hear that thing with the dude, the journalist who went to North Korea, and they don't like any like celebrities or any public figures going over there.
Yeah.
So when he went over there, they didn't know that he was like a popular, famous guy in America.
Oh wow.
And one of the people there wanted to get a picture with them, and then the guard that was with him was like, why does this guy know you? Why does he want a picture and stuff?
Yeah.
And they got suspicious of him.
And
then eventually, like, some dude told him, like, hey, go to the airport now. Keep your head low. Like, sit in a corner and just, like...
go back to America?
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's freaky. I wouldn't want to be in North Korea. I guess Kim Jong-un is sick again
in
a coma. But who knows? Because there's always those rumors going around, and then he emerges as like a hero because he's still alive and all this crap. So who knows?
But is he not a hero, man?
He's
pretty good in The Interview.
I don't know.
With James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Oh, I remember that. I like that movie. Actually, it was an enjoyable movie. But that's a freaky place to live, man. Like it's weird because the people are so scared there. Like I watched a documentary a few years ago, and they were like at some like ski resort. I don't remember who it was. It was a public figure of some type from America, I'm pretty sure. And they went there, and they had permission from the leadership there, and they were like interviewing people at this ski resort, and they had this like little kid in their interview, and they're like, oh yes, we're just so grateful that our marshal, they call Kim Jong-un our marshal, like it's like their god basically. So they're like, oh, we're just so grateful that our marshal built this for us so we can come here. And they're just too afraid to like speak up for themselves. And that's what I fear happening here, man. When you see like all the BLM stuff, and you see not just that, but then you see the political correctness culture, like where they're like cancel culture, things like that, where, oh my gosh, if you say that, you're a bad person. And then they're just so quickly to brand somebody a racist without thinking of how that could eventually, that precedent can lead to them, and then eventually it'll be them who is silenced. And that's what happened in like Nazi Germany and places like that. So if you really understand history and you really study these things, then you see the correlation between what happened in Nazi Germany, what's happening in North Korea, what happened in Stalin's, Soviet Union and these different places with what's happening in America. And then you see people now who have platforms and social media that came from like Cuba and Venezuela. I just watched a speech from a guy during the Republican National Convention. He came from Cuba, and he watched Fidel Castro's rise to power, and he said it mirrors what's going on here now. So, if Trump doesn't win in 2020, then we've got a big problem on our hands.
I know. It would be weird, a modern-day Titanic, women and children first. Everyone just identifies as women.
What do you mean?
On the Titanic, they're like women and children on the lifeboats first. Who's to say we don't identify as a woman now?
Dude, it's such a stupid thing that's going on out there, man. It's just, that's the biggest problem is we need to, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it was Candace Owens. I don't know.
Well, we were talking before, and I said if there was a World War III and if there was a World War II situation but modern day, all this like little petty stuff about like this hurt my feelings, like get it out of my bubble,
Yeah,
that wouldn't exist anymore. It's like you need to straighten up, or
Yeah, well, it's just that's not the biggest problem anymore. At that point, these little things that we all like argue about that we can't seem to just get over the hump with, like we can't just like, come to agree to disagree. Those little things would just burn up, because then now it's, oh, I'm getting drafted, I'm gonna go potentially die.
When you're in your bunker and they don't have a gender neutral restroom, like where do you go?
Exactly, that's the way I see it too. But yeah, I saw it was a meme, like a political meme, and it said it showed like it was like 4 different images and like 4 different like little things, and I'll get into it. So it said strong men create good times, and then no, it was hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and then it said good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and it shows like different images, and it shows like the World War II like fighters, like strong men, and then it shows what they created. They built like a really during the 50s. It was like our economy was booming, and it was super strong and all that, and in the America was thriving. And then you get into 2020, and like we're just in a peacetime. We just like we had the war in Iraq and Afghanistan that no one really believed in. But
isn't Trump trying to get our troops out?
Yeah, see, that's another thing I like is I've been anti-war my whole life, and that goes back to I was a Beatles fan when I was younger, so I was anti-war. But yeah, and I like that Trump wants to actually pull them out. He's not just saying it either. Like Obama's, oh yeah, we're gonna get the troops out, and then he actually expands the wars in the Middle East, bombs 5 countries for 8 years. And then, creates ISIS too. Not many people know that is the Syrian moderate rebels that we all heard about when we were younger. I heard about them in high school. The moderate rebels that we were funding and supporting to fight against the Assad regime.
Didn't we fund Osama bin Laden as well? Wasn't he on our team for a while?
He was a billionaire, yeah. And Osama bin Laden was a billionaire, and he has ties to the Bushes, all that good stuff. There's all kinds of stuff related, with 9/11, like how they had just opened up like $1 million something insurance policy on those buildings. That had an exemption for planes hitting the buildings. So when the planes hit the buildings, a bunch of people cashed out from the 9/11 terrorist
Did
attack.
you see the thing in Epstein's house? We're going back to him with Bush, with what was it, the Jenga, like the game Jenga.
Yeah.
He had 2 Jenga towers, and then he had paper planes, and one of them they were like knocked over, and he was like throwing
really?
paper planes at him. Yeah, that was in
That's
Epstein's house.
weird.
It was like a painting.
That's creepy.
And then yeah,
I didn't know that. That's weird.
yeah. Look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look it up. I don't know how to find it.
But then there was also the Bill Clinton one with the dress.
Oh, I saw that. Yep. There's some weird artwork there, man. It's always weird artwork. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the Denver airport, how they have like the weird artwork of like some dude in a gas mask like waving a like scythe, and it like has all these like
That was in
green.
his house.
That's weird. That's weird, man. I don't like that.
A lot of people say that he did stuff like with the Bill Clinton and like Bush, just to kind of like have that, because a lot of like he died with a net worth of like 500 million, which is a lot of money. But I think it was Eric Weinstein. He brought up a really good point of like, he had like all these houses. He was a man who should have been like, with like the accessories he had and whatnot, would have been way more than he should have had a net worth of way more than 500 million.
Epstein. Well, he was a billionaire once.
Yeah, but it's that thing of like, what was it? The guy from Victoria's Secret like gave him a mansion pretty much for like incredibly cheap.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because it's just like that leverage of like, hey, I have video of you fucking a kid.
Oh man.
So you're gonna give me this.
That's exactly what it is. It's a conspiracy, like a blackmail conspiracy that binds everyone to the secrecy. So if anyone speaks out, then I have dirt on you, so you don't want to do that. So everyone's just too afraid. You know what I mean? and it's not to say they're good people either.
Something that brought I can't remember who it was, but they brought up like how he has these paintings on the wall of like Bill Clinton and Bush,
dress, yeah,
just to like show like I own you. Like
that could be right. That
like he has those paintings because like.
Yeah.
Well, you think Bill Clinton would approve of something like that?
Yeah, that's
like,
a good point.
It's just like that power structure of like, I own you pretty much. You're my little puppet.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, they had to get involved with him to begin with. They probably knew what they were getting into, but didn't know they were going to be, bound in some blackmail conspiracy. Who knows? But I mean, who knows what's really going on out there? I just know that Epstein,
Did you see Hillary Clinton's response to how her thoughts on the thing went down with Bill Clinton getting a BJ in the Oval Office, where he was like, "Oh, well, she's an adult woman or whatnot, so it wasn't,
non-consensual, whatever."
No, it wasn't. What is it called? Power, like.
Oh, what's it called? Like when you're like in a position of power.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like that. And Joe Rogan brought up a good point. He's like, "What other position? Like, you're the fucking president. Like, what more power? What more of a power structure
position.
can you be?"
I love Joe Rogan. He's moving out of LA, right?
Yeah,
he's moving to
Texas.
That's a good move.
I love the way he formulates stuff. Like, I feel like he has like a lot of opinions about California in general, but he's not really saying it. Because when he got talked when they brought about him moving to Texas. He just said like, yeah, it's better taxes there, a little bit more freedom, and he just throws these little things,
like slights at him. Yeah,
yeah. It's
little
like
shades.
you could totally go into you could take
More
that
freedom.
more freedom. Like, what do you mean by more freedom? And he'd probably go down a whole entire thing because
they're super restrictive over there.
California, like, if you have any gathering, they're gonna shut your power off.
I know
which means like what California.
It's a tyranny there, man. It really is.
It's August, so it's like incredibly hot weather over there.
Just turn your AC off.
Yeah,
that could be all kinds of health issues there. Too.
And then you go to the beach, and then they don't want you going to the beach.
Dude, that's what I'm saying is like our country, man. They're getting away with a lot of stuff. Like over in New York and Cali, they have like these restrictions.
Do you see Cali's trying to pass a bill?
We should also talk about how the Conhulio China virus isn't that bad, man. Like people are blowing it out of proportion. They say, oh my gosh, America has the most deaths of anyone.
I got mono, and I feel like that was worse.
Oh, I would agree with that. The thing is like they inflate the deaths. They say that like if you're in a car accident and a metal rod like from the opposing vehicle like goes through your head like in one side out the other, then they rapid test your body, which the rapid coronavirus.
Did you see that they were testing plain swabs and they were coming up positive?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was everywhere.
Not only that, but if you go to a park, like those stupid parks that make you write down your information and all that stuff. Yeah. If someone tested positive, then they count the 15 people there also positive.
Exactly. So they just throw in a bunch of it's just faulty data. They're just inflating the data to make it look terrible because it's all just an agenda to try to make Trump look bad before the ahead of the election. So that's really what it is. It's just a giant power struggle, and you got the deep state. This is what it looks like when you have bad guys that have been in power for decades that have just been. The reason
a lot of people are upset at Trump because he said he was going to drain the swamp, and then 4 years later. Yeah.
Well, I agree. I think it's quite the battle, though, man. I think
I understand.
I think it's worse than we know. I think he's got a better idea of how bad it is, and they have to play it a certain way. I think he knows what he's doing. I also think Trump's really fucking smart, like smarter than we,
Yeah, a lot of people don't give him credit for it, but like, they take that, I got a small loan of $1 million, and then they throw that out there, but. That's stupid, though. Well, think about how many people would just blow the $1 million. Like you got to be.
I'd say 99% of people wouldn't know what to do with that money.
Yeah. So if
you got $100 million and you turned it into $5 billion like he did, $100 million, that's still a success. Yeah. He got $1 million. According to him, who knows what the actual figure was, but let's say $1 million for the sake of argument. He got $1 million, turned it into $5 billion. That's a fucking huge success.
Yeah. So granted he knew people. It's not like he wasn't out of the circle of the 1%.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
What do you think about Jeff Bezos? Like a lot of people saying like
we didn't take his money from him.
You shouldn't have like $70 billion.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that philosophy, man. I think that and I'm not even saying I like Jeff Bezos.
It's so weird. He's a liberal. Like he's like on board with the philosophy.
Well, it's because he's well connected. If a socialist uprising takeover took place in America, Jeff Bezos would be okay. The rest of us, not so much. But I mean, the way I see it though is like in America, you can go from where we are now. We're just basic middle class dudes, right? But we can if we make the right calls, we work hard, we have some good connections, we network well, we are good entrepreneurs, we're successful. We can also be like Jeff Bezos. I mean, you could be a billionaire in America. We can do that. Anywhere else in the world, you can't do that. So that's the amazing.
It's weird because you see like a lot of immigrants who come here. They talk about how this country's way better than what they came from.
Oh yeah, well, because they actually escaped something difficult. They had to go through a trying time, and then here in America, we just had it so good for so long. We've taken our rights and our freedoms for granted. So that's not me and you, but like people that hate our country. Oh my gosh, we need to burn down capitalist system. It's so evil. It's like, well, if it's so evil, like why is there so many millionaires? Why is it empowered more people, more humans than any other place in history? Every other place enslaves people. Well, then here we go. We can talk about slavery, but we conquered slavery as well. We led the world in that. So, I mean, if you look at all that.
What's your opinion? Like, a lot of people use the argument of this generation still dealing with their past slavery.
Oh, my gosh, dude. I don't believe in that. I don't think that 200 years ago.
Well, it wasn't 200 years ago.
It was 100 years ago.
Well, like when did the full-on civil rights movement? Like what?
Oh, you're talking about segregation?
Not necessarily, yeah, segregation in particular. Not necessarily
Well, just say no.
slavery.
Democrats did segregation. Democrats were the party of slavery. Democrats were the party of the KKK. So I don't know why they're continue believing Democrats are going to save them. That's just not the way it's been throughout history. And then they're like, oh, but the party flipped. That's also nonsense. That's totally not true. I mean, if you look at the history of that, it's not true at all. Because, just tell me, how does it just go, oh, one day all of a sudden all the Republicans just, oh, we're Democrats now, and all the Democrats, oh, we're Republicans. It just isn't how it works. But anyways, so the way I see it is I don't think that 150 years of slavery, or 150 years ago when slavery existed, has bled all the way 200 years later. I think that we've conquered that. We're a much more advanced civilization now than we used to be, and that's why we got rid of that.
Now we got people in China being our slaves.
And also, who freed the black people? I mean, who freed the African Americans from slavery, from bondage? It was the white people that fought in the Civil War. 200,000 people gave their lives, and that's the price of freedom. It's you have to. A lot of people have to die.
Did you see the Ricky Gervais thing at I think it was at the Emmys. It was a while ago, where he just starts calling out celebrities. Mm-hmm. Where I think he made the Epstein joke of just like, yeah, I'm sorry you guys had to get your own flight tonight. Because that Epstein killed himself. And then he
I remember that. Okay,
yeah, and then he brought up how like all you guys are all like anti this stuff, and then he called out the leader of Apple for being like using sweatshops and everything when he's all like for this progressive idea.
I know, it's ridiculous.
And then he brought up like if ISIS created a streaming service today, like all of you guys would sign that contract to get on.
Probably, man.
What do you think about Tom Hanks being a pedophile? On his Instagram, he has all his comments turned off, and then in Hollywood, his star has pedophile written on it.
That's weird.
It is really weird.
And then
it's weird that he hasn't openly, at least from not what I've seen, he hasn't openly said he hasn't openly stated anything about that. It's just
I know he has like a house in Greece where
he became a resident of Greece.
Yeah, where it's pedophilia is like a disability or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking weird, dude. Like, yeah.
We talked about this a little bit before. Mm-hmm. Do you think it should be labeled as a disability? Like, I think it should be a crime when it's committed, but if you go in with like, I have this illness, like I'm attracted to children, but they haven't acted upon it. If we go with the argument that you don't get to choose what you're attracted to at all. Mm-hmm.
So you're just like, man, I just lick my lips, lust after children. I just can't get on board with that, man.
Like, if it's not their choice, like, where do those people go?
I don't know, man. I mean, that's I think they probably maybe a straitjacket is where they should go. They should go to a mental institution. I'll never get on board with adding a P to the LGBTQ. For pedophilia, that's not okay with me. Yeah.
I don't think anyone necessarily agrees with pedophilia, but it's just like, what do you do with this small amount of people who have this problem, like
don't
this
act
illness,
on it?
this disease? Mm-hmm. Where do they go for treatment or help? To get that situated, those kind of people don't really have anything out there. So let's say Washington passed a bill saying that pedophilia is a disease.
I'd say you throw them on an island far away, and not like Epstein's Island, but you throw them on an island where there's no children.
I mean, Epstein's Island, that's what did happen. They threw them on an island with underage people.
Yeah, I know, that's fucking terrible stuff, man. I don't even like I couldn't even watch the documentary like we're talking about because it's just like too dark. Like once you start getting into the pedophilia and just how you see how rampant it is, like it's in Hollywood. It's with Tom Hanks, that's just one example. And then you see like, Ashton Kutcher, like he's big into fighting against it, and exposing all the like child sex slavery and all that crap, man. Like once you start looking into all that, it's just so
weird
dark.
How it's
you can't
so
look at it anymore.
under
the radar,
under the rug.
Heard of adrenochrome before? You've never heard of adrenochrome? So it's basically what it is, and this is like what you can say it's a conspiracy theory, but I mean, it's a real thing. It's actually
something I want to talk about that, but I haven't looked into it that much. But I feel like you maybe QAnon. I know QAnon. I'm not a Q guy, so I'm not like I don't know
what
that
follower.
Is though.
So what it is it's like Q is like this. It's supposedly an individual or a group, like an organization of individuals that are working. Basically, they're the opposite of the deep state. They're the secret people. They give themselves this name Q because Q is a like super high level security clearance within the government. So or within like the government, military, all that. So they claim to have like insider information to be working with Trump and that he was like that they're like really close to the president, and that they're the counter, the weapon against the deep state. So they claim that, and then they say they have like some like forum or some place where they post, and they claim to have like they're giving out like little snippets of information. But I'm not a Q guy. I'm not saying it's real or fake. I don't really know personally. I don't really follow Q. I never really saw the hype about it. But they claim to be going after like Satanists and pedophiles within the government. So I mean that's the conspiracy there.
I mean, I went to Bohemian Grove one time, and it's kind of like a rave,
Bohemian Grove, man. That's some weird stuff, man. Nixon went to that. I know Nixon went to that. Nixon.
Well, just describe what Bohemian
Bushes.
Grove is to people who don't know.
What was that?
Describe what that is for people who don't know.
So it's first of all, it's real. It's not like just a conspiracy theory. It's a real thing. It's been documented, filmed, everything. And what it is it's basically a huge like group of politicians. And I think I want to say there's like business leaders there as well. Sometimes slip in, but they all meet up in like the woods somewhere at a they call this like ceremony that they have Bohemian Grove, and they have this giant wooden owl, or no, it's stone. It's a stone owl that they light on fire. And then they like do this weird little play and like sing to the owl, and then they mock human sacrifice, like a fake baby to the owl. It's weird, dude. Some trippy stuff, but there's a lot of names you'd recognize, from that have been at Bohemian Grove. Henry Kissinger.
Who's the one who's penetrating himself?
Henry Kissinger. I mean, according to Alex Jones, I don't really know about all that. I mean, I wasn't there personally. I didn't see it. That wasn't documented. But
because I was busy.
It's weird stuff, though.
Penetrating my own self.
Oh my gosh. Oh, no. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
What do you think what do you think that's all about, though?
Bohemian Grove?
Yeah, like why would everyone go there just to burn?
Oh, like these like rich, super well connected politicians and stuff. Just
like
to
what's
burn
the meaning behind that?
Well, the owl's name is Molech, and Molech in like ancient societies, it was like the Aztecs. They like worshipped Molech in these different ancient societies. It's a giant like horned owl, or sometimes it's a bull. And these ancient societies would actually sacrifice real people to it. You know what I mean? Like and there's like they find those like giant pits that are just full of like dead body skeletons and whatnot from hundreds of years ago. Anyways, so Molech was like their god, essentially. So now you have this group of politicians that all dress in black robes, go meet in the woods. They conduct this like play ceremony thing where they have some guy like row up on a boat with a fake baby and then throw it into the mouth of this being. So I don't really know what the heck is going on. I'll tell you what, though. I think they believe it's like some weird like spiritual like sacrifice thing that like gives them powers. I mean, I don't really know, but that's some weird stuff.
Did you see I don't remember his name. I want to say Billy Joel, but I could be wrong. So don't take that as fact, but he talks about how he sold his soul to get big.
And then like
it's like a really weird interview. Like he talks about how he sold his soul and like how
I remember this. And he was like, and he said like they're like, oh, like he's like, I owe a debt or something like that. And they're like, oh, who do you owe the debt to? And he's like, oh, the what did he say? He said like the master of the world or something like that. And they're like, of this world? And he's like, yeah, well, this one and he's like, and the next. And you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It's creepy though, man. I mean, I believe. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I believe in the devil. I believe in God.
Do you believe that there's
clockwork elves?
Well, I got DMT if you want to do
it. Well, shit, man. I didn't know it's this kind of podcast.
Yeah, would you ever do DMT? That's like one of the ones where
probably not. Let me tell you why. Because psychedelic crap, I just feel like it would just trip me out, and I probably would never come back from it. So I'm like, no.
You're just like, you go back to being 5 years old, and you're like, why am I on an island?
Why am I on this island, man? Why is this guy rubbing my shoulders?
No, what Epstein would have, what he would do is he would have girls come over and massage him.
Yeah.
And he'd be naked, and then he would flip over.
Is this what they said in the documentary?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it anymore.
And then he would like tell them to take their clothes off and stuff.
That is so weird, bro. I just can't get into all
that. It was in Florida too.
Really?
And what he would do is
let me get back to adrenochrome. So this kind is on the same topic. So it's like a drug essentially that they say they extract like the adrenaline from like they said like this. It goes into the whole.
Is this going into Hillary Clinton drinking kid blood to?
Basically, it's like
is it really?
It's basically they say it's
you
like
think that's real?
Some elite drug. I don't know. I'll tell you what though. Adrenochrome itself is a real thing. It's like a compound. It's like a adrenaline precursor. So that's real for sure. But I don't know if if it's people drink blood or they inject themselves with kid blood or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that it's, you know, it's a real thing on adrenochrome itself. So I mean, it's creepy to get into. See, that's a rabbit hole I don't like to jump down because I love conspiracy theories and all that. I loved alien stuff when I was a kid. I don't really know about all that anymore. I don't know what's true, what's fake. There's a lot of, you know, computer, you know, stuff they can do now with, you know, fake cinematics and whatnot. But I hate jumping down to like pedophilia rabbit hole because a lot of it's real. And once you just see how dark the world is out there, it just like makes you darker. And I just don't like getting into it.
Well, it goes into the whole thing of just like everything is so under the rug. It's just like you don't. Mm-hmm. It's like it's this presentation, like the front of the book is just like, you know, the politician, everything they want to do. You start opening those layers of it, and you start seeing
like an onion.
Yeah, you start seeing a lot of like
what they're
horrific
into.
Stuff and
like Bohemian Grove, and then you got Bilderberg. Ever heard of Bilderberg? I probably told you about that too. It's basically like Bohemian Grove, except for it involves, you know, people from globally. Whereas Bohemian Grove is, you know, United States
California.
People. Yeah, exactly. Bilderberg, it's hosted at different places, and they bring elite people from around the world. I know that Hillary Clinton's been to Bilderberg, corporate leaders, and Elon Musk has been there. And he said that they talked about like how AI is gonna like rule humanity eventually, and that like they're like building this like AI system that's gonna I don't know. Anyways, basically Skynet.
Dude, if I was a part of that, I'd just
he said in his words, Elon Musk, he said, "Beware those who worship AI gods." He said this path will lead to total destruction, something like that, because he's been to these meetings. So it's kind of freaky when you hear it, because I actually like Elon Musk.
It's funny because Elon Musk, like, when he was on Joe Rogan and he was talking about how he's scared of AI, and he's like dead serious, and Joe Rogan's just kind of like joking about it.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk is so stone faced about it.
Yeah, and you're like,
he's like warning him.
Yeah, he's a genius too. Like, he's a really smart guy.
What's it called? Do you think that the universe is infinite?
Oh, this is a good question. So here we go. Now I like talking about all this. So here we go.
Well, I ask you because I think I asked you one time and you said no, and it's kind of like a known fact of. Oh, it's a blindly accepted fact that the universe is infinite. Like you and
really? So I didn't think that. I thought that it was accepted that it's expanding, constantly expanding, but that there is a limit to where it's expanded to. So what I think it is it's like.
Well, you believe in God, and the Bible only takes place on Earth. So where does everything else
you talking about
fit?
Like the flat Earth and all that?
Well, no. Where does everything else fit in the context of Bible only taking place on Earth? Where does the rest of the universe?
Well, I think it's all. So this is where I like when we get into aliens and all that. I think that's all just designed to teach you that you're just like this primitive thing, like a monkey, and that and that's what evolution teaches you, not to believe that you're like this, divinely created being, created in the image of God, right? So that's like if you look at it. That's a really powerful thing to believe, that you're like created for a reason, that every one of us has a purpose. I think that's a powerful thing to teach kids. I think kids, growing up in that world will be a lot more successful.
No, kids need to learn that bathrooms are universal. That if you feel like playing with the doll, you can play with the doll.
Oh my gosh, I hate all that. Anyway, so
if your kid feels like it's a female, if your male feels like it's female, put them on hormone blockers.
Oh, so anyways,
ASAP.
I want to get back to what I was saying. So, when I was younger, I bought into the whole evolution, all that stuff. And I'm not saying evolution is wrong or that the law of natural selection is all wrong. I think there's definitely some truth in those too. But I think that I started growing up kind of becoming an atheist over time. And it was just a really depressing reality to live in. And then once I, turned back to God and started to reconcile how all of that makes sense in the universe, and how it just makes more sense to me. Like in my experience, I believe in like the law of attraction. I believe that, human beings we manifest our reality, through the things we focus on. So if you focus on, if you're constantly self-doubting, then you're like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're just always going to fail because you don't believe in yourself and you don't have faith. That's the big thing about faith. So whatever you think about the Bible and God and all that, whether or not you think God's real, Jesus, all that stuff, at the end of the day, there is really good messages in the Bible. As far as the universe goes, I think it all plays a part. So like I was saying,
do you think there's pedophiles on other planets?
No.
Bring back the pedophilia.
Oh my gosh, I hate
Do you
talking
think
about that.
Epstein has a pedophile planet?
A pedophile slave planet? No, the way I see it is it's all like perfectly aligned for our ascension. So we're going to go from like here to the moon, and it's going to be like a staging operation to get us to Mars. And then Mars is going to get us to Titan, which is like an Earth-like planet, moon of Jupiter. And then it's all perfectly staged for a reason, because it's once we conquer the evil here, once we overcome all our things holding us back.
It's weird how we have a universal like space treaty. Mm-hmm. Neil deGrasse Tyson brought up a good point of like, if we can't get along here, what makes you think we're going to get along up there? With being up there, there's probably going to be a lot more problems up there than there is right here.
Yeah, That's a good point. I mean, that's if you can get through the glass barrier that covers the flat Earth. No kidding. Okay. No, but
Do you think the Earth is flat?
The Earth is flat? No, I don't think the Earth is flat. Now let me explain though. I don't think
when I went on a plane, I didn't see the curvature.
Why didn't you see the curvature there? It's actually interesting because if you do abide by the curved, Earth
Someone brought up a
theory,
really good point. If you go to LA to New York,
yeah,
it's the same amount of time from going to New York to LA, but wouldn't you be going against that force?
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way. That's one thing. And then another thing was, you can see like, I don't remember what city, it was like Chicago or something like that, but you can see like from miles, like 60 miles away, which if you abide by the curvature of the Earth theory, it should be over the other side of the curve. So you shouldn't be able to see it, but you can still see the horizon, the skyline of the city, which you shouldn't be able to see. So I think the flat earthers, I mean, whether or not they're, the Earth is flat or round or whatever, I don't know, but I do think the flat earthers, they're onto something too. Like they have legitimate points. So that's the way I see it. And I don't think the, globe, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know if it really matters if the Earth's flat or if it's round. I don't think that's the biggest thing we should be concerned about when you have like, people burning down cities and stuff right now. But anyways, going back to the universe. So I do think the universe is like perfectly set up for us to like ascend and whatnot. So I think humanity has to like go through some like awakening process in order to get there first. But yeah, I think it all exists in like, it's like God's mind. It's God's creation, right? So it's very interesting when you put it that way. But
do you think there's going to be gender neutral restrooms on the space station?
On Mars?
Yeah. What do you think?
Question.
What do you think? Everything like right now, you see a lot of gender neutral restrooms, all these pronouns and stuff being adopted in universities and whatnot. Where do you think that goes?
It goes to, I don't know.
Well, no. Where do you think that goes? Like 5-10 years from now? Do you think we're just gonna like disavow it in a way, like backtrack, or do you think we're gonna completely adopt that?
Well, I just don't get how you can claim to be like, they're always like, oh, science is on the side of the, liberals or whatever, or science has a leftist bias, whatever. That's such a BS when you look at it. I mean, how many genders are there? There's male and female. Isn't it weird that that's
Gender's
even argued? Huh?
Gender's a spectrum. Gender is a different definition.
Oh, gender is different than sex. It's whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that like you should identify. I mean, I don't think that, I identify as a man who is masculine. Why do you got to overcomplicate it? Why can't you just be man and a woman?
You're just a...
And then there's, intersex.
Matt, you're mansplaining right now. I need you to stop.
Oh my gosh. Am I mansplaining to Chunga? Chunga's a man too, though. Isn't Chunga a man?
She's a female.
Oh, that's a she.
Are you also man-spreading right now?
I'm also man-spreading. Actually, no. We should get those chairs that limit our...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that shit pissed me off so bad when I saw that. What's up with the war on men, too, man? Ever notice that?
Because of toxic masculinity.
Because it's toxic to have a attraction for someone. It was like remember the Gillette commercial where it was like the guy was going up to like
go like you've done that at Barnes and Noble before. I watched it. You talked to a girl there.
We don't talk
I should have stopped you.
You should be, oh no, that's not cool, man. It's not cool to have a desire for someone of the opposite. It's not cool to procreate. That's stupid. If you don't procreate, then there is no future. There's no humanity.
Yeah, but I was talking to my friend AJ about this, and today, there was always that bad boy in Hollywood, whether it was like James Dean, Charlie Sheen was
the girls always like the bad boy.
Yeah, well, Charlie Sheen, the guy that gets all the girls, the guy that's like the tough dude and whatnot. Yeah, but
leather jacket guy.
That doesn't happen today. There is no guy that gets. There's
always the guy begging, chasing after the girl's affection, and then eventually in Hollywood, because this is the phony reality.
Well, no. The thing is that in pop culture, there was Charlie Sheen, James Dean, like these big. Tom Cruise was up front for. It's like these guys who Charlie Sheen. He was a womanizer. He got all the women and all that. Whether you agree with that lifestyle or not, but he was the tough guy. He was a bad boy. In real life, yeah, he was that guy in Hollywood with the jacket, with getting all the chicks and everything, working out. That does not exist. That does not exist today.
What do you mean by that? Oh, there is no movies with a...
No, not movies. There is no person in Hollywood that's publicized as like the bad boy who gets all the girls and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because it's a crime to have a desire for someone of the opposite sex. If you're a man, if you're a woman and you want to, that's the place they're bringing it to. And now they're saying like, oh, it was like Cardi B recently who said like, Cardi B, one of her like followers of some type, was like, yeah, we're liberating girls out here, teaching them, they can be hoes and all this stuff. It's like, why have no one's saying they can't do that. Like no one's saying that you can't make your own decision with what you do.
But then when a man wants to sleep with multiple women, it's
he's a bad guy. It's weird. It's just like a reversal because before
there is a double standard. I remember
there is a double standard. Absolutely.
At work, I was talking about, I can't remember who it was. I was saying some.
You mean like with women, there's a double standard? Like
No.
that they're
No.
bad if
This
they-
happened. This happened.
Yeah.
And I just didn't say. I just stayed out of it. But like, this happened on 2 different days. So one day I was talking about how this
To
woman.
coworkers?
Yeah, it was coworkers.
Okay.
I was talking about how this female actress was like super attractive, and then one of my female coworkers was like, "Oh, stop objectifying women."
Mm-hmm.
And then like a month later, Wonder Woman came out, and that same female was talking about how hot Steve Rogers is in Wonder Woman.
It's stupid, man.
And I was just all like, I wanted to say like, don't objectify men, but it was just like
was it like your boss or something?
No. But it's just like they're very liberal, so I'm like, I'm not even gonna get in that conversation.
Yeah, because there's no winning.
Yeah.
Because they're the saint, the virtue signaler, and you're just the bad, terrible racist if you disagree with them. So
yeah,
it's stupid.
But I noticed that, and I was like, how does that make sense? How can I not talk about this female's attraction?
Yeah.
But you can talk about this male's attraction, like
that's like their sex appeal, whatever.
Yeah,
that's stupid. I mean, I just don't see. I mean, if I'm attracted to someone and I'm like, oh man, that's a really attractive girl right there, and I like talk and say it to you, and then how is that? I just don't see how it's bad. I mean, I think that's
locker
room banter. Yeah. I mean, we've all been there, but I don't know, man.
Do you see that? I think was it Steven Crowder? He walked around campus. No, it was Owen Schroyer. I think it was where he walked around campuses and asked where he was talking about like people's opinion
on masculinity or whatever.
Well, about locker room talk. Well, it was when that whole Trump grab her by the pussy thing first came out.
Yeah.
And he was talking to like university males about like, you ever have locker room talk? And they're like, no.
Like never. I've never said anything bad at all.
Yeah,
it was Schroyer. Yeah, he was like, oh, okay, so you've never like talked about anything with your friends that you wouldn't want anyone else to hear and all that stuff. It's
or
like,
just like commenting on a girl's butt or something with your guy friends or whatever. Like you've never done that. Like no.
It's like, bro, come on, dude. It's like, no, why would I? Oh, I remember that. Yeah, it was like Owen Schroyer versus the beta male at like whatever university. It was like UT Austin or whatever. Oh my gosh, man, the soy drinker.
Ice Poseidon. Do you know who Ice Poseidon is?
I feel like this sounds familiar.
He's an in real life streamer, so he just walks around with the camera and he streams.
IRL.
Yeah, he used to be really big, but he's like a very basic dude in a way, in the sense of like he doesn't really care about politics at all. Like he just goes about his day. He does what he does.
Person. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was funny because he went to like Trump rallies and stuff, and just to be a dick, he'd be like, "Oh, pro Trump," and he saw how crazy these people were.
The Trump people?
No, not the Trump people, but the people protesting Trump. Like he went I think he was in California.
So he did like both sides to see who was crazier, kind of thing.
Well, no, he just went to a Trump rally, like a Trump, not a rally, but like a Trump protest.
Okay.
It was like, I think it was in like when Trump first became president, like there was all these protests happening in California.
Yeah.
And he was just like walking
He was like,
around.
"Make America great again."
He was just walking around and he like stumbled across and he's like, "Oh, sweet." And then he went over there and it was just, he noticed like all this craziness that like,
it is
just for having a different opinion. And then he would go on college campuses and he just set up a table and he'd do speed dating stuff. And the cops got called on him because he started asking people like, how many genders are there? And then like the females would be like, "Oh, it's a spectrum." He's all like, "But there's only 2. There's a dick and a dick and a vagina." And the cops got called on him, and the cops literally told him like, "Hey, this is their safe
We're
space.
shutting down your freedom of speech."
Well, yeah, this is their safe space. You can't go against their ideology or whatever and stuff like that." And the cops were saying that to him on the campus. Meaning that, like, if you disagree with the whole more than 2 genders thing, you can't talk. You can't talk.
That's ridiculous, man. I mean, so, and then they say that, oh my gosh, we're the liberal minority. We're persecuted. We're the ones. It's not true at all. They're empowered by all the celebrities agree with them.
I don't remember
all the pop culture
who brought it up, but they talked about how the college environment now is like, not only does it teach one ideology, but I can't remember what his name was, but he talks about like you go into
teach you to hate your country.
You go into college. Liking America and you come out hating it. No,
it's very true.
I think his example is like you go into
with no opinion, you come out a total radical leftist,
or just like you go into
SJW.
Yeah, you come out of college hating America more.
One thing I found very
well, back to what I was saying, was a big point was, all these people are getting these degrees. Like he says, somebody
lesbian dance theory,
or like someone goes 4 years to college for an art degree, and then now they're working as a construction worker. Like I can't remember who it was, but he said he was at a construction job, and they would get all these guys who get all these people who have like 4-year degrees, and it's like an art degree or something like that.
Yeah.
And now they're working a construction job.
I know it's useless. They spend all their money on that, and it just goes to nothing, man. And that's
what a cricket sounds like. I saw you looking over there. I
Yeah,
was
I was
like,
like, what the heck
that's
is
just
that?
that's the crickets.
To say better not be no tarantula, man. Not with that life. But anyways, yeah, that's the one thing I found very true with liberals is they all have, and this goes
Lesbian dance theory.
no, they all have a victim mentality. So they all have this mentality that, oh my gosh,
America's
the world's out to get me. Like I'll never succeed because America, is capitalism won't let me, or because I'm a woman and it's a patriarchal system. All this crap, man. It's just all bogus. They've accepted defeat before they even reach the finish line, and they all have this mentality. And I have friends of mine that I know that I know really well that all share that. This is the one thing they all have in common. They're all like super liberal. And then on the opposite spectrum, the people that tend to be like more conservative, whatever, they just seem a lot happier. They seem more like attractive to be around, attractive in general. And it's just like,
what are you saying about liberals, man?
I don't know.
Go to a protest and tell me there's not attractive ladies there.
Beautiful women at the BLM protests. I don't know. I've yet to see. Okay, I haven't gone to any. I mean, that might be a shocker, but I haven't gone to any. But I mean, I just can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with burning the American flag. I can't be on board. See, like I said, I have just this certain nostalgia, like of just living in a time I never lived in, of like being able to salute
you are the most
flag
privileged
together.
person in America. You're a white cis male.
Oh my God. I'm not even white. I'm literally like Mexican.
So you get more privilege in America.
Yeah, I sound super white. Like I have like the most like white sounding voice ever. But like it's very articulate.
You and I both worked at the same place. You and I went both to the same college.
Yeah.
What do you think about, I guess, Pierce College in general with your beliefs in that environment? I think I went about it very well in the sense that, Buddy, I'm gonna have him on here eventually. I kept my, you already know me. I kind of like kept my opinions to myself.
I love Buddy. He's got crappy politics though. He's got crappy politics. Sometimes I swear he's got good politics, and then other times he'll just totally hit me with something I wasn't expecting. Like, really, bro? Really, you're into that? No, I love him. He's a good guy.
But like,
he's funny.
Yeah, I kept my beliefs to myself. Unless you were in the room, you and I would talk politics or whatever. But like, other than that,
I haven't debated with Buddy in a while. I miss him.
Okay. But other than that, I would keep to myself about what I believe in within the college environment.
I wouldn't. I was very outspoken. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt walked up to a group of black fellows and asked if they like Kanye.
No, I did not.
No, you did. I remember that.
What? Well, is that
when we're passing out the newspaper? You passed it to him.
Well, he had just dropped his album.
Yeah,
Is it Jesus is Lord or Jesus is King?
Because
he dropped 2 of them like that.
Yeah, and then you asked if they like Kanye.
I was like, no, I said, do you like the new Kanye album? Is what I asked him.
Yeah,
that's not racist.
I'm not saying it's racist. I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny. And then you went into the how you supported Trump, and then you were going back and forth with them.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, we had a great conversation. It was just a brief one because we were like walking to class,
yeah.
or we were walking like out to our cars or something like that. But
what I was saying is like I
passed out the newspaper.
Yeah, but I'd keep my beliefs to myself, my ideologies. But I just that thing I posted on Instagram with the cancel con with Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin and all them. Buddy hit me up and he's like, "Oh, you drank the red Kool-Aid."
Oh my gosh, he said that to me too.
When he said that
guy though.
And then he's like, "Yeah,
he's really smart though.
I didn't think you would lean so right," but him saying that was just like, I think I did a good job with like keeping quiet at Pierce because like he didn't. Obviously, my interactions with him were very limited in the sense of like you'd stop by the office every now and then.
Yeah, to talk with me.
We'd chat, but I think I did a good job with not being open about my beliefs. Which I mean, you could take that as a good or bad thing. I mean, I think someone should be able to. I think a college environment is where belief should be.
Absolutely, it should be encouraged for difference of opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're going to be meeting like some of the smartest people you're ever going to meet, and that's where you're fostering. A lot of people are like in their early 20s when they first start going to college. Yeah. So they start to develop their identity there too. So I think it's a good idea to have all these different opinions. It helps forge your belief. And then also it teaches you to live in a world or in a society where there's difference of opinion, but the left these days like doesn't believe in that. They don't want a difference of opinion more. They don't believe in free speech anymore. And it's just a very sad thing to witness, man.
Well, for me personally, I'm not really into politics per se.
Yes, you are.
Well, no, I'm not into politics.
You are so into it.
No, not in the context.
You brought up politics today to me.
I
like it, though. It's a good thing.
Well, no. Here's what I'm going to say. And it's kind of the same thing I said to Buddy, was that I'm not really that into politics. If you ask me, like, what my opinion is on should this tax money go to this thing, and so I I'm not into politics in the context of like I
Yeah.
know all this information, both sides of the argument on
Yeah.
particular subject. My big thing is the freedom of speech aspect of what's happening today.
No freedom of speech. We can't be doing this.
Well, what the thing is though is that like I have in this I see memes about this. Is like, if he says he has a dark sense of humor, he's just racist or something like that.
It's
And like,
bro,
it's just like and
so boring.
this is
that
what I
belief
talked about.
system.
This is what I talked about with Jeremy. It's just like I'm not really into politics. What I have a problem with is like, him and I. He jokes about me because I'm Mexican. I joke about him because he's Asian. It's a
Yeah.
back and forth banter.
It's called comedy. It's funny.
Him and I don't. Like if I say something, against white people or against black people, he knows it's a joke. He knows who I am. He knows I am joking. He knows the context.
You don't actually have racism in your heart and your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the context of being a joke.
Yeah.
And that's what does not exist today. So in a way,
comedy's dead, man.
It affects me in a way of where like, I can't say a certain joke because it's going to be taken out of context or someone's going to label me as racist just because I said this thing.
I know.
Which is in context a joke, which you can say the most radical thing ever, like, oh, bring back slavery. And it's just, a throwaway joke.
Yeah.
But someone takes that little part and
They blow
Matt
it out.
Matt Walker says we should bring back slavery, and you look at the actual clip of it, and it's just like,
I just think why do we have to be so divided? Like at the end of the day, it's just freaking politics, man. Like at the end of the day, like
well, that's the thing. That's
like
another
me and
thing.
Buddy, we disagree, but like me and him are still good buddies. Like
That's the thing. It's
like
just
me and him
like,
get along so well. Like we hit it off.
That's a big problem I have today is that you can't just have conversation. It's just
There's no agree to disagree.
You adopt my ideology, or we just can't communicate. You know?
Plus, I already established with Buddy that in like 5 to 10 years, we'll see who is right. It's gonna be me, but we'll see. Okay. I really do believe you give it 1 decade at least, or at the most a decade, and then 100 years from now, same thing. But Trump will be looked back upon like as like one of the greatest presidents ever. I
am curious about that because right now he's like incredibly hated by media.
Yeah,
but,
by
like,
media. Yeah.
But what is going to be his outlook 10, 20 years from now when people who didn't have him as a president look back at his presidency?
Well, he's not done yet, too. You got to think. We got another 4 years. I think he's
Oh,
gonna...
yeah, not official yet.
Well, I think...
You think he's going to win by a landslide with
Biden?
No, Tim Pool has a good argument. Like, all these Democratic like governors and people are, endorsing the riots and whatnot. And a lot of everyday Americans are not down for that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So he thinks Trump's going to win by a landslide, like 49 state landslide. Like
I think he will too. I don't think Biden has no enthusiasm. Like if you look at,
well, he's not campaigning.
Yeah, I know he's
not
hiding in his
campaigning.
basement, man. And they got the mask. And all. People are done with that, man. People are done with it. It's so boring.
A lot of people, he says that big thing that people are going to get deterred because Biden.
You got this guy on the. Let me just say something real quick. You got Trump here, just freaking whatever you think about him.
He bought one of the biggest ad spaces for the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't.
He bought, it was like a 7-figure price tag to get his ads on the Washington Post.
Whatever you think about Trump and everything, the world has been like so much, like media, news, everything, so much more fun since he like arrived. Like he's got a ton of energy.
He brought that, yeah.
Notice, no matter what they say, no matter if it's good or bad, all the attention's always on him. So no matter what he says, it always gets blown up. It always gets attention. So it's like they're not intending for it to happen, but they're promoting his stuff by just covering him nonstop. That's why he's a genius, because he knows how the media works. He knows he's gonna say something and that they're gonna blow it up for him. They're gonna do his job for him.
There's a little hidden thing of just like maybe the news outlets secretly want him to be president again, because if Biden becomes president, no one's going to be clicking on the article like Biden does this.
That's a good point. I think Trump saved CNN. He saved MSNBC. Like their viewership has been going down for years. And then all of a sudden now
you've seen like a lot of more outspoken like recently. Like Tucker Carlson was like one of the biggest cable sought after like news.
I don't even like Fox News as a whole, but I like Tucker Carlson.
I like Tucker Carlson too.
Yeah, I love
Apparently he's like a Nazi.
Oh yeah. Apparently, CNN was telling me he's a Nazi. So yeah. Yeah, well, if you watch CNN and you watch Fox News, it's literally 2 different realities. That's the weird thing about it. It's like you have
Fox
to
News
watch
has
both to find the truth.
Yeah, and Fox News has this stigma though that it's fake in a way.
So does CNN on Fox News too.
Yeah,
it goes both ways. That's what I'm saying. Is like why can't we just fucking not be so divided anymore? Why can't
we
just be unified?
A thing by the New York Times saying if you're conservative, don't vote for Trump, and here's why.
Oh my god,
it was an opinionated piece like why conservatives shouldn't vote for Trump. I didn't read it because I don't have a
vote Mitt Romney because he's a conservative. No, he's a Democrat in disguise. It's called what do we call those? We call them the Republican blue bloods where they bleed blue because they're actually Democrats. They just have the title of Republican.
Well, a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump is not really even a Republican. Wasn't he Democrat for the longest time?
Well, he was,
and he had to
that was a
run for
different
the
time.
he had to run for the Republican Party because he wasn't gonna.
Well, I think he was truly an independent, but he had to select a party because you're not going to win if you run a Libertarian or Green Party ticket. It's just not going to happen. We have Republican and Democrat right now.
I do think his ideology's changed since he's become president, though. I think he probably leans more towards conservative or
Republican. Yeah, I agree. See, I don't even like the title though. Like to brand myself something. I just kind of like I'm a free thinker, man. I just tend to lean more that direction because the other way is. Burn down the country, and then the opposite of burn down the country is, love our country, get back to our roots, make America great again. I like that.
Well, what a good argument is, it's like the right, per se, conservatives, Republican, whatever you want to label it, is now a more broader umbrella for people to get into because you see people on the right, they're all for discussion, they're all for conversation, and the left, it's either you're
this little freaking thing, you have to be it, otherwise they're gonna kick you out, otherwise you're not welcome.
It's like. If you're just a free thinker, if you have different ideas, if you want to like bounce them off other people and have a conversation, you're safe over here.
Sheep
mentality. But if you want to be radical and like if you want to be on the left side, you have to adopt these incredibly radical ideas and adopt and
a lot of people jump down that and then they just turn into total soy boy liberals. They go to Starbucks, get a soy latte every single day. No, it's true though, man. I mean, there's nothing positive coming out of the left. It's always just hate the country, hate Trump, burn the flag. I just can't align with something so negative. I choose to align with more positivity, and that's love the country, make America great again. Put more money in people's pocket. I think that's empowering message, whereas the opposite of that is just super negative. I just can't get on board with negativity like that, man, because then that's just going to be my life, and I'm just all about peak performance.
What are the things you don't like about Trump?
Things I don't like about Trump?
Other than his 5G.
Well, I don't like the 5G. I didn't like how he bombed Syria. That was my early criticism of him.
What was the thing where a lot of people were upset about him?
Was it the Iran thing?
I think it was the Iran thing where he killed.
They're always upset about him, yeah.
Where they killed.
I was actually okay with that. See, I'm anti-war, but I mean, if you got someone that's plotting a terror attack against a country, like I'm anti-war, so we shouldn't go take out Obama or Osama bin Laden. No, that's not right. I'm anti-war. I don't want to see it fomented. So if you got one person plotting terrorist attacks, that's going to bring us into another war. But if we can eliminate the problem before it becomes a problem, then then I think that's a good thing. And that prevented a war, if anything.
Yeah, and I think also though is I think there's just like a mentality of I don't know how to word it. Like I don't know, like for me, I didn't really like this is where I bring up like I'm not that into politics. I don't really know the context of I didn't even know who that guy was that they bombed and killed.
Yeah, I forgot what his name. See, I don't even.
And I didn't.
I used to.
All I saw was the headlines of like Trump bombs and kills.
Trump kills him, yeah. Oh, of course. It's funny.
Didn't Obama kill an American citizen?
Obama?
Yeah. It was, he did a bomb and there was a...
I don't know too much, to be honest. I know that he bombed 5 countries for 8 years. So anyone that wants to tell you that Trump's been pushing war...
It's weird because
he's on the opposite. It's Obama that grew the war in the Middle East, that expanded the war in the Middle East.
Like, before I watched, like, Ben Shapiro, like, Tim Pool or any of those other people... it seemed like Obama was like a standable, personable guy.
Upstandable, yeah.
Yeah, like he seemed like a reasonable, nice guy. But then I started seeing and reading like these things that he did during presidency that just weren't highlighted or brought up
like
or anything.
Building, creating ISIS, like weakening our military, like just adding so much to the debt, man. Trillions of dollars he expanded the wars in the Middle East with.
No, everyone's bitching about Trump about how he's dealing with the COVID crisis.
Mm-hmm. He's doing a good job.
Obama upped the unemployment by $25 when the Great Recession happened. So we got $600 every week on top of what our federal benefits was. And
then with the swine flu, they totally mishandled that too.
And when the Great Recession happened, they just upped the unemployment by $25. Compare that to $600.
$25. Oh my gosh.
Granted though.
What does that get you? They get you like, you can go sit down for one meal at a restaurant for $25, dude.
Well, granted though, I think also
I also don't like
was
the
it
600 either, because I mean it's.
Well, no, I don't like the 600. I like
Well, I
it.
still
When
like-
well,
yeah,
I like
yeah,
it.
I
I
understand.
like getting it, like personally.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think they should bring the 600 back. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. First of all, I don't even think we should have shut down the economy in general. So
Yeah, I agree with
don't.
that.
So you don't have to give 600 to people if you just didn't even shut down all the jobs or anything.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, if you're gonna shut down the economy, you're gonna get people out of their jobs.
Yeah.
Then give them the 600. Like if you're gonna, you can't just have it like.
Well, don't put.
Well, Nancy Pelosi also.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? She wanted all this attachments, and she straight up said it, and a lot of people got pissed off about her because she wants to bring the 600 back, and the
But
Republicans said
That's
well,
not really what they want, though. They're
Yeah.
just trying to appease the masses. Say, oh, we're gonna give you your 600 back, but 2 trillion of it's gonna 2 trillion of the 3 trillion.
Well, that's the
only
thing.
Half a trillion is gonna go to you. The rest of it's gonna go
the Heroes
to
Act,
crap.
the $3
yeah.
trillion. There's like a lot of shit in there that just
Dumb
doesn't.
shit. Yeah. It was like funding more gender studies. It's like, bruh, but there's 2 fucking genders. We don't need to go send 50 million to study that. It's just useless.
And then
We need things that actually empower people. I'm sorry,
well-
but if gender studies is your biggest concern, then you have it way too good, man.
Well, here's the thing. Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi was all for.
Some people can't pay rent. Some people can't afford all this stuff. But
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi was all for the adding the 600 till January.
yeah,
And when the 600 ran out, Trump was like, you know what, fine, like let's extend it till the end of the year, and let's negotiate on this stuff. And Democrats said no.
they're unwilling to negotiate, man. Like they can't come to comment. Like even on like the abortion thing. So going to the abortion issue, the Republicans were trying to get the Democrats to basically to agree that okay, if the aborted baby survives the procedure,
Keep 'em comfortable.
yeah, we'll keep them comfortable. No, but they were trying to get him to say, they were trying to get him to say, or to get on board with, okay, if it survives, then we're still gonna have the doctor, take care or try to save the life of the baby who was, intended to be aborted, but who survived.
And then
We're
they
still
sell
gonna try
their
to save life.
organs.
And they couldn't even agree with that. They couldn't even get on board with that. That's really why. It's because they're profiting off the the abortions themselves, but they couldn't even agree to something so common sense like, okay, if the baby survives the abortion, the doctor's gonna try to save its life. No, instead now they couldn't even agree. So the counter to that is they are just gonna let it die, right? Let the baby die, which is
They're gonna
just.
keep it comfortable.
But we're gonna put a blanket around it at least.
Did you do it? I'm referring to the Alex Jones where he talks about, I think it was like in New York, how they're gonna how they were actually
Celebrating it.
well they're talking about like how they were gonna, if the baby survives, that they were gonna keep it comfortable for a while and
Well,
then
they were saying
terminate it, but in reality they're selling its organs and stuff because those go for a lot of money.
Yeah, they go for like a because it's I guess because it's so it's still alive when they extract the organ, it's worth like so much more money. Like because when it's I don't really know how it all works, but I do know there's some dark stuff going on with that too, man. And that's that's if you're profiting off dead babies and you're just total scum. And no, I just can't get on board with
Yeah.
voting for that, But
Yeah. What is your opinion though about kind of you see a big thing happen with
Changa. With Changa.
Yeah, but like the left gets all up in arms about the right with all their conspiracy theories and whatnot.
Yeah, but then the
But then
Russia
they-
hoax
the
and
Ru-
then
yeah, Russia-
Ukraine scandal.
And that's all
then-
mainstream and like
Yeah.
presumed to be fact.
Yeah, well, they push it as fact. Isn't it weird how the media, like now you can see it. Like if you're a normal person and you're not like super biased towards the left or the right, whatever,
there's
and
still
you see
families-
how the media totally like allies against Trump. Now you can see like how corrupt everything was, how the government's been working in tandem with the media. They're supposed to be separate. The media's supposed to keep the government in check, right? But that's not the case. And now you can see it all. So now you can see the corruption for yourself. You don't have to be super smart. But unfortunately, if you're super left leaning or something, and it's all supporting things you believe in, then you're gonna refuse to believe that because people don't want to believe what contradicts their own belief systems. They refuse to get on board with that.
Tim Pool he's been having a lot of guests on who are from the left originally, who have
Yeah.
now
Converted over,
who are voting Trump this election, and a
It's
lot
of those, man.
A lot of them are bringing up like one of them. He was gay, and he talks about how he saw one of the things that like switch in him was he saw the media, and he's like, how can you support somebody who when Trump like was making fun of a disabled reporter or whatever. He's like, how can you vote for that and support him? And then like someone sent him a video of the actual thing.
Yeah.
And apparently like he just does that whenever he's like
he does. There's like
quoting like a
many different
lie.
ones. Yeah.
Like
He makes fun of
saying.
people.
Yeah. and that was like his first like tick of just like, wait a minute, like, okay, if that
Yeah.
was like misrepresented,
So
then
he's
what
actually
else?
smart. So he's like a guy that was like, wait, that that actually questioned it. Like
Yeah.
at least he questioned it, right? But he was like, that's when he started to realize that that there is something going on. There is people that are just out there to see Trump removed. Because you know why? It's very simple. It's because Trump comes in. He's not from the government. He said he's gonna drain the swamp, all that stuff. And the swamp doesn't want him to be doing that. So they tried to beat him in 2016. They couldn't get it done. So then they had to.
Dude, it feels like a
'cause he's
2016
coming
election
for the
now.
money that they're swindling. So when you look at LA and you see all the homeless, just all it really is a symptom of the fact that all the government there is super corrupt. So they get all this, as long as they have a homeless problem, they're getting tons of funding to go for, towards solving it. And then it all just goes right in their pocket. So none of that ever gets solved, and then it just makes it worse for the average person.
And then they blame it on
more people end on
capitalism.
the streets, and then they blame it on capitalism, and they get more money. It's just a joke, man. If you don't have capitalism, the only people with the money is the government. That's socialism. That's what they want.
I think it's a weird thing because if everybody got a standard base,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, the thing is if
It's-
you raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour, let's just say for sake of argument, $20 an hour, everything else, the price of everything else just goes up in proportion. So let's say that you raise it to $20 an hour and a carton of milk at $10 an hour costs $5. Okay, then now that carton of milk is going to cost $10. So it's not going to actually do anything. You can't raise it artificially like that. It has to be organic. So what needs to happen is organically companies need to start, paying people more money. And the way that you do that is, by reduce or eliminating, like Trump did, the payroll tax. So now companies aren't getting taxed, for that thing. So now they're more incentivized to raise the wages on their employees. And other people might say, oh, but they're not going to do that. It's like, well, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go give their, very, good hard workers
Nobody's
more
signing
money?
on to that right now because there is a weird contingency with that.
Mhm.
It's right now. It's not forgiven. So if a company signs on to the tax cut,
Uh-huh.
they're gonna have to pay that back eventually.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that
he said
executive order that he signed, no company wants to do it because he's saying that if he gets reelected, then he'll push something to forgive it. But as of right now,
He's saying he's going to completely eliminate the payroll tax,
Yeah.
which more money in our pocket. They're saying that's 6.2% more money in our pocket. So
I
that
mean,
means
it's a little bit-
6.2% raise. That's significant.
that's a little bit
Because a
when
lot of people, when you're working salary, a lot of people go to their boss and ask for a 3% raise, and that's like a fucking good raise. He's giving them double that, so he's giving them 6%. If you're making
What was Buddy's contingent with that? Like
buddies,
Yeah. What did he say? What did he disagree about it with that?
I don't even remember. I'd have to read the message, but I think he said something along the lines of like, "Oh, but it's not gonna." I don't remember. I have to go look. But he disagrees with it. But when he sees the 6.2% more money in his pocket, he's probably gonna come around. I'd agree. I mean, I'd bet that's gonna be what happens. But
Do you know who he's voting for?
buddy, I'm sorry, but if you vote Biden, bro, your IQ has dropped significantly since we last talked. Because come on, man. I mean, it doesn't take much to look at Biden
That's weird.
and to realize he's just, dude, that
He's
guy's
not there.
Like, he's just gonna be the puppet. Everyone, he's gonna be, okay, Biden, you need to go do a speech today just to look like the president. We'll do all the, we'll write all of the policies. We'll do everything for you. So they're gonna do all that. So really, the reason the Democrats, it's funny. You see all the like career criminal Democrats, Hillary Clinton, all these different ones, coming out. Oh, we need Biden in there. We need Biden. He's a good man. Biden, Joe is Joe. All this stuff. Pelosi, all them. All supporting him now all of a sudden. And then it's because they're all realizing like, oh wow, we put him there, then we're gonna be in power again. You know what I mean? So that's all. It's all about power and money to these people. Whereas Trump had the money. He was a billionaire. He had $1 billion corporation. He didn't need to become the president for his own sake. He did it because he wanted to help people, and he's lost like half his net worth since he became the president. Like he chose to stop being a billionaire CEO to go fight for the American people, become the most hated man in the country. He's the most beloved man by half the country, most hated by the other half. There's no really common middle ground with Trump. It's either you love him or you hate him. So he chose to give up just being a billionaire celebrity everybody loved to then become
It
the
is
most
weird
hated.
if you look
He's
back at
very
how
bold.
many people loved Trump before he even ran.
Including like the rappers. All the rappers love Trump and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Because he won civil rights awards. He won the Ellis Island Award for fighting social injustices. And then he went after he went after golf clubs for like not allowing gays and whatnot, and also minorities, because it was like the golf clubs are only allowing like white people. It's kind of a racist thing going on there. And Trump went after those people and got that changed. So I mean I mean, if you look at him, I mean, it's just really sad when you got a really good dude that's just crucified constantly. I mean, what happened to Jesus? I mean, the same thing.
Comparing Trump to Jesus.
Well, I'm not saying Trump is Jesus. I'm not saying Trump's like the savior. All I'm saying is that, it's the common story is the good guy always ends up being crucified because the people that are profiting off of or benefiting in some way off of the evil things, they don't want to see that happen. So, the people, it's really, when you look at it, they got their hands in the piggy bank, the deep state, and Trump's trying to take their hand out and then let everyone else have their hands in too. And that's why they hate him. That's why they're coming after him, because they don't want to see somebody taking money out of their pockets that they swindled from the American people.
What do you see
and our families?
What do you see America looking like if Trump doesn't get elected and it's just Democrats for the next 10 years?
I mean, more of the same, but a lot worse. The socialist stuff, I mean, at the end of the day, because they're going to be, free college, free healthcare. They're going to give you all that until they are in complete control, and then all that's gone. I mean, you look at any socialist country. So, I mean, really, it's just going to descend, man. It's just going to keep going. You're going to see more riots. You're going to see more of that. Eventually, it's going to reach our doorstep. I mean, it already almost did here where we live in Seattle, right? So we had the Chop Chaz thing, and that's right down the road. We can drive 45 minutes to get there, right? And eventually, it's going to reach our doorstep, and that's when people are finally going to wake up. But if we have Democrats in office and power, it's going to be too late.
That was a big thing Tim Pool brought up. He brought up, like, nobody's really speaking out right now, and in some areas brought this up, how Antifa's literally going into neighborhoods.
It's freaky, man.
And suburban, like a neighborhood like this.
Isn't it weird how they call themselves anti-fascists? But I mean, like, it's like if I say, like, I'm anti-racist, and then I go, throw on a white hood. You know what I mean? Like, you can say the words, but it doesn't really. It's your actions that speak. The Democrats don't see that, or the liberals don't see it. To them, words are louder than actions. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you say that you're on our side, as long as you agree with us, that's all that matters.
And it's weird because they want to propel like black voices, LGBT minority
that's what they
voices.
Say. It's all bogus.
But when there's a black conservative wanting to get on the mic,
nope,
push him away.
Candace Owens would be a good example.
What's his name? Dave Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
He's gay.
That's right.
They don't.
But he left the cult. He left the cult,
he
so they can't accept it. It really is, man. It's really like a cult, especially when you start looking at Antifa. You start looking at all that, man. Like, it's weird stuff. It's dangerous, man. It really is. Like, you're looking at like Nazi Germany again.
You know what's funny?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hear it every now and then now, but from what it was before, the Second Amendment. Joe Rogan brought it up too. Like, when the lockdown
they never
happened,
argue about it anymore.
Yeah, when the lockdown happened, he saw all his liberal friends lining up at those gun shops.
Yeah, no, I went to so I bought a firearm.
Tim Pool was against guns, and now he has a few.
Yeah, well, because you got to. I mean, you look at everything going on, man.
I think he lives in New Jersey, and he says it's horrible over there too.
Dude, I went gun shopping about a month or a little over a month ago, and first of all, everyone at the gun stores were super stressed, dude, because they said they've had more first time gun buyers in 2 months than they've had in any given like year span. So they've had like more people coming in to buy guns than ever. They had like no ammo left, so I couldn't buy any ammo. I ended up getting a box, but it was a little bit difficult, a little bit of a process. But anyways, and then I saw people that were total look like total liberals and whatnot coming in buying guns. So to me it was a great thing. I'm like, oh wow. That's a good thing. A lot of people waking up to the importance.
Did you see someone with a shaved head and blue hair?
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, at least that's the positive thing coming out of the whole COVID, because they saw like how people were freaking out. They saw how and then people would always make fun of Alex Jones, for example, for selling like emergency supply food, things like that, things that can be stored for a long period of time without going bad, molding, whatever, and then that you could cook really easily, and it's like a year supply of quick food, like macaroni, things like that you can cook. They'd always make fun of him for having those, like, oh my gosh, look at this guy's doomsday profiteer or whatever. And now they're all buying it, because now they're like, oh wow, this can actually happen. Society can crumble just like that. And the coronavirus and the whole BLM thing is kind of very kind of showed everyone, that illustrated that well. But
but where I was going back, I talked about this a little earlier, but with Owen Schroyer, they talked about how
I love Owen Schroyer.
Everything they were
shameless plug to Owen Schroyer.
Everything that they were bringing up in like the 90s, early 2000s, everyone thought they were crazy, that they were huge conspiracy theorists and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But now, a lot of that stuff that they were talking about back then is like coming to
like Epstein. They talked about Epstein a decade ago. They broke that story many, many years ago. and they were always called like, you know, they were always the kooks, the tinfoil hat wearers, and then all of a sudden now it's like known and they don't get the credit. That's what's messed up, man, is they don't get any of the credit because they're InfoWars.
Yeah.
So even though they broke that story 10 years ago, and it's just now coming out, you know, and ABC sat on the story for 3 years. They were told not to release it. So, man, some weird stuff out there.
And then they turned the frogs gay. Not my frog though.
Are you sure?
He does. He croaks for a woman all the time.
What? No way.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Did you, I posted on my story before. Did you ever see it where his neck gets all big and he starts like?
Oh, that's a mating thing.
Yeah.
Really, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he starts making a weird noise. So I don't think he's gay.
Well, that's good at least.
What do you mean that's good, Matt?
Huh?
What do you mean that's good?
Well, it means that they're gonna have babies. They're gonna procreate.
Did you think he wasn't cute if he was gay?
No, I wouldn't care. I got no problem with gay people at all. In fact, I've worked with many gay people. Never had a problem with them. One of them was really cool. He's like my favorite guy I worked with.
One of them turned me into bisexual.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. No, but
what do you? But I didn't get your opinion. What do you think? What was your kind of stance? You being with the ideologies you have in a community college. That's.
Oh yeah, we got to go back to that. You know, to be honest, I don't think Pierce is the worst. Like,
I don't think it's the worst either. I think a lot of people are there nice. A lot of people just want to keep them themselves.
Exactly, that's what I've noticed. I think most people are like that, anyways. Yeah, no, I don't think Pierce was the worst. I definitely think it's still a liberal haven. Like, it's so full of, you know, I'd probably 80% liberal, and then just a small minority of.
You saw all the speakers that they're brought were all liberal speakers. I don't think
when.
I would have to pull up the events, but there were a lot of like events where the speaker there was talking about. Like,
that's because conservatives can handle a difference of opinion. Liberals can. If you go have Ben Shapiro show up at Pierce College, people are gonna be outraged. But if you go have,
I get so many pictures of him.
Yeah, if you go have Michelle Obama, you know, at Pierce College, no conservatives are gonna be like screaming them down or, you know, protesting outside the door. It's because, you know, we know how to handle ourselves. We had, you know, spankings as kids, I guess. I don't know what it was. The liberals didn't, though.
I didn't drink the fluoride in the water that turned me gay.
The fluoride in the water that brain deads you, man.
Wait, what was it that turned the frogs gay?
It was atrazine. Dude, I've been like so out of date with politics, like so out of touch with it. Like I'm like rusty at it now. I've been like more focused on self-development and things like that.
I don't look at any politics. I just like I watch Tim Pool like. He posts like 6 videos a day, pretty much. Like he does like little segments of things that happen. Like he'll do a video about what happened during the riots today and stuff like that, and like what's going on in California and all these other governors and states. So I like watch those to kind of get like caught up, and then I'll like watch some other stuff. So I do that like almost every night, and just to get caught up. Some of the stuff I just don't really care about. Like, but I think a big thing is I don't know if I brought it up entirely, but. Joe Rogan, he didn't say how much, but like a lot of people are expecting the $100 million Spotify deal, he's leaving. And there's this thing going on in California right now where they're trying to pass this bill that will tax people who live in the state. Up to 10 years ago.
Oh, I remember that. So they can get taxed if they move from California to Texas to save money on taxes, and they can still get taxed by California. That's weird, man. That's totalitarian.
Yeah, and I think they're talking about a big thing that probably propelled that is that deal Joe Rogan signed.
Oh,
they probably want a piece of that, and he's going to Texas.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And people like Joe Rogan, too, because a lot of people are fleeing that state, man. And then they go straight to Texas, which sucks. A lot of liberals go straight to Austin, Texas, and then they just destroy that state, too.
Did you watch that video with Steven Crowder and Alex Jones?
Yeah, I did.
Walking down?
Dude, whenever Alex Jones is featured, I have to watch it.
Bum piss.
And remember, he was like trying not to puke. He's like, oh, it's the dust mites, man. I was like, it's the dust mites, man. That's what that smell is. He's like, I think it's just bum piss, man.
But is that the one? Oh, I think he did a Change My Mind. And did you watch a Change My Mind there? Where that one guy was hanging out with that girl, or he's talking. They were like, was
it Savannah Hernandez?
I think there was like an argument going back and forth between the black guy and the girl.
Yeah, that guy was terrible, dude.
And then he brought up like, you know, this is how rape culture doesn't exist, because you saw immediately when there was that altercation, a bunch of guys came over there.
Yeah, to protect the girl.
Yeah,
yeah, because that guy was like, yeah, if I had money and I wasn't like a bum, then you'd be. He was saying like she'd be trying to get at him and all this stuff, and then he was saying all this stuff, and he called her like a hoe and all this stuff, and then they were like, "What are you even here for, man? Like, leave." He's like, "Oh, I'm here to preach the gospel." And then Crowder was like, "I don't think Jesus ever was going around calling women that things like that, but treating women that way." But yeah, that was a weird one.
It was cool. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen a difference with Steven Crowder from like a year ago to today. He seems more like a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. Like he seems like a genuine nice dude. Like
yeah. Well, he is a genuine nice dude. He's hilarious.
I think he is too. But I think it's probably because the only stuff I saw him on was like his talk show and where he's like talking really fast, like cracking jokes and everything, and like just stuff like that. But like I haven't really seen him like.
He's also like married now too. I don't know how long he's been married, but
he's been married for a while. He waited till marriage to.
I remember. What do you think about that?
He brought it. He talked about it. He said it was like a 24-hour job, like from the ages of 13 to like 20.
Yeah.
To like not do anything with a female.
That'd be really difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, and then wait till marriage. I feel like, obviously I can't say I can do that now, but
yeah,
I would say.
But why is that? Why couldn't you?
I committed adultery. A few times.
Adultery. No, that's different. Adultery is when you cheat on someone.
Oh,
like you're married to. Yeah.
I figured. I thought that.
No, you're thinking of premarital sex.
Yeah, premarital sex.
Mm-hmm. No, you haven't, bro. Come on, stop lying. Stop bragging to your audience, right? I'm kidding.
Man, you don't remember when we did it?
Oh my god,
committed multiple sins there.
Anyway, what you're saying though.
But I think if I got in a relationship now and they wanted to wait till marriage, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Going from age,
but you stick around.
I'd probably stick around. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't think I could do that, man. Oh shoot. Probably should be careful.
I probably just, I just, I just marry her a month into dating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Dude, that's what's funny is the premarital or the people concerned about that like want to wait till marriage or wait till marriage people, they always get married like that. You notice that because they can't handle it. But it can't really.
It's also, I think it was a good point of with.
Aww. Chonga.
I think it was Steven Crowder where he brought up how a lot of black families, the father figures out of there back in like the 50s and 60s, where Planned Parenthood wasn't a thing really, like birth control and whatnot. Mm-hmm. You would get a girl pregnant, you would just marry her and like
and take care of the kid. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no now you get a girl pregnant, it's just like, well, fuck, I gotta pay that child support, or I gotta do something to avoid that situation.
There's definitely something wrong with how men are treated in these situations. Women always get or not always, but most of the time, it's like when it comes to like those civil suits, and who
in the court, women always get
they always get. So how is it that women are, oh my gosh, women are mistreated in this country?
I think if you brought that to light,
totally not true. Yeah.
Like with the cases with women, I think there would be an argument that women are just better caregivers and whatnot. And
well, you could make. But I think there's more to it than that. I think a lot of times that's not the case. A lot of times it's a woman could be strung out on drugs and still win that case.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, against the man, just because it's the mom dad thing. I guess I don't really know, or the woman the man thing. But men are definitely mistreated in those civil trials for sure.
Yeah. What do you think your opinion is on abortion?
Abortion?
Yeah.
You mean like what's my stance on abortion?
Abortion. Are you the same with Kanye?
What do you mean?
Kanye's against abortion.
Yeah, I'm against abortion as well. What is it's it depends, because when you look at it, I think you're denying reality if you say that it's not a life.
Jordan Peterson brought up a really good point. He's like, abortion it's a tough topic, but like abortion is not something you would ever wish on somebody. It's obviously not a good thing.
Nobody ever comes out of an abortion like, man, I'm so glad I did that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, it was a really hard choice, but, I think it was the right choice to make, but, it's really difficult. And then when, on the contrary, when someone chooses to have the kid, it's always, oh my gosh, they're the best thing in my life. Like, I'm so glad, that they're there. Like, they're my, if you're a mom, for example, I know a bunch of moms that had kids young. One of them's a good friend of mine, an old friend. Anyway, she had his daughter, and it's like totally like her doppelganger. She's always doing everything with her, like posting pictures with her all the time, like happiest, probably the best choice she's ever. She would say that's the best choice she made. Whereas on the contrary, anyone that ever has an abortion can never say it was a great choice. They always regret it, or they say like, oh, it was a really difficult choice.
But who are you, a cis white man, to tell a woman what she should do with her body?
Well, it's not that. See, that's the part of the argument. Or the way I see it is just not their body they're making the choice about. How many
they do have to go through the 9 months of pregnancy.
Well, yeah, but
deliver it.
But when you go, when you go have the abortion, you're making that, you're not, aborting yourself. You're aborting the life inside of you. So it's not your body the decision's being made about. Who is it? I agree with that. I guess I agree with that saying. Who are you to make a choice about my body, right? well, well, who are you to make a choice about the body that is inside you? You made the decision to, have, sex. And, if you weren't ready for a kid, maybe you shouldn't have done that. That's the way I see it. But, I mean, it could happen to anyone, but I just don't think abortion's the solution. I don't think abortion should ever be used as a form of birth control. I think it's wrong.
Well, shit. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'm on the double digits now.
Like there's little Victors right
I have a keychain of all the little bundles of cells.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. Well, that's just the way I view it, though. I mean,
Do you think a man should have any say? Like, if you got someone pregnant, do you think you should have any say in the matter?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think that it's it's your kid too. So you should have a say.
I like
it should be a two-person
Dave
decision.
Chappelle's bit about that, where he talks about he says, I don't think a man should have any say on whether the woman wants to keep it or not. But I think if the woman wants to keep it, the man shouldn't have to pay any child support. And that's what his stance is on it. I'm like,
yeah.
Shit, if that was the case, I'd have so many kids right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's I don't know. There's so many holes in the argument that they try to make. Oh, you shouldn't make a choice about my body, or my body, my choice, all that, whatever. It's like, okay, well, it's not your body you're making the decision about, though. Like, you're not aborting yourself. You're aborting the baby inside you. That's the way I see it. And, you have 10 fingers, not 20. There's another 10 fingers inside there on the baby, And I think it's a human life. And I think you're denying reality if you say it's not a life. I mean, it's true. It's definitely, if you had that aborted fetus laying on Mars, would an astronaut go report back to Houston, no signs of life here? No, they would say, oh my gosh, there's a baby fetus right here. It's a human
Another
being.
part of the argument is that what stage in the pregnancy is
acceptable.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Democrats don't care if it goes to full term, and then you want to abort it right after it pops out. After you have the pregnancy, they're still up for that. I mean, you saw that
twisted off like a bottle cap.
Oh gosh, that's terrible. No, but
let me sell this to Epstein.
I mean, I think it's a life from the beginning. I mean, because the one way about it, whether you consider it a life when it comes out and breathes its first breath or not, I mean, eventually that thing is going to come out and breathe. It's going to be a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either way, so you are eliminating the potential life.
What about
you view it that way? But I view it as life from the beginning. Conception.
Like 1 to 2 months, where it's just a bundle of cells.
Just a bundle of cells. What's still life? I mean, if you think about it.
Ben Shapiro had a good thing about that, where someone brought that up, and he said, "Well, aren't you just a bundle of cells?"
Yeah, well, that's exactly what you are. You're just billions of them. You're just more of them.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're still the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
But what do you think is going to be the future with freedom of speech?
I think it's gonna. I think Trump's gonna win 2020. I think there's gonna be a huge ideological shift, and I think it's already happening.
You do see a hypocrisy though with freedom of speech of like people on the left saying, "Let us protest, let us riot. It's our First Amendment right." But then you can't let Ben Shapiro talk at a college without rioting.
They're always hypocritical about, especially when it comes to like their whole ideology is hypocritical. It's, like,
it's so weird when
anything that they argue about. It's all hypocritical.
It's so weird when they call Ben Shapiro a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
The dude wears a yarmulke.
I know the dude wears a yarmulke. The dude's Jewish, bro. That's like super offensive. But
the thing is, I remember Ben Shapiro talking about how he was out in public with his kids. People will start yelling at him, like, and just cussing at him in front of his kids.
Well, it's because they're the ones that are like the morally corrupt people. Like they're bad people. If they're yelling at him in front of his kids like that.
Yeah, and I think I agree with Ben Shapiro. Like in the context of, Ben Shapiro doesn't agree that there's more than 2 genders. He thinks male, female. He's not a big proponent of transgenderism, but within a debate, stick to that point. But like if you're sitting down with somebody and they want to be referred to as this name or this pronoun, it's just like.
Yeah,
I don't fucking care. Like,
yeah, I'll try my best, but if I fucking slip up, then I don't want to get swung on or you to be mad at me either.
Yeah.
Then no, I agree though. I mean, like if someone tells me like, "Hey, I'm a transgender female or whatever, and I want to be called by she," then I'll abide by that. But I'm not gonna go also at the same time say that everybody has to. I'm just saying that personally, just not to be rude, just to
it's a respect thing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. It's basic.
What is your kind of stance within I guess with colleges? Universities in particular. You touched on it with how they indoctrinate you into this ideology.
I do, yeah.
Did you see Washington? This happened like a year ago. Washington State University, the one in Seattle. They were trying to ban the Republican club or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. If they want to get federal funding, I agree with Trump on this. If they want federal funding, they have to support, or they have to allow a difference of opinion. You can't just have some,
It's so weird how they were pushing so hard to ban that group.
It's
like
that dude. That's banning freedom of speech. You're
if
basically saying, oh, you're not allowed to think that way.
Yeah, if they
That's
ban the
creepy,
Republican
bro.
club, like
Mhm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like? How? Where's the difference of opinion happening?
Yeah, I know. It's very weird. I just think that they just they don't agree with free speech anymore. Like they're so radical, the left. Whereas the right, you could say, has gone a little bit right. The left is just boom, way over here. They admit they're socialists.
You realize there's never ever a thing saying right or like oh, he's right wing. It's far right. It's never right wing. It's always
far right. Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's pretty moderate, if you ask me. Moderate right wing. I mean, he says pretty sensible stuff. I mean, all of them say pretty sensible stuff.
Yeah.
It's once you look at the left. I mean, your average leftist is total like socialist, like democratic socialist. It's like, what does that even mean, man? Like
that's the same.
Stalin was a democratic socialist
brought
too
up,
before
the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party anymore. It's like a socialist party. They're all of them. All the big ones have adopted that ideology. Yeah, and it's gonna fail because the bottom line is that people like freedom and people like to have more money in their pocket, and no one's gonna. The large majority, once they see payroll tax cuts, once they see all this stuff and they see more money in their pocket, they see a booming economy, that's going to look more appealing than the opposite, which is, and their message is just so negative too. They have no energy. They're just hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. Their whole like message is hating a guy. Whereas Trump's is all make America great again. It's a positive, uplifting thing. That just resonates with more people. But there's a lot of sad people out there. Didn't Bill Clinton use that slogan too?
Bill Clinton, he used it like one time or something like that. He like said it, I guess. Like we make America great again, which is, I agree with that. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing Bill Clinton ever said I agree with probably. But no, he's actually a really good, effective speaker.
Really weird. I don't know, because within my context of like knowledge or like developing opinions, growing up through school, politics was never even a talked about or big thing up until the 2016 election. Obviously, I can't speak on behalf of like I wonder if I grew up in like the 90s onward, if like politics is just like this background thing that happens, like maybe you're into it or maybe you have an opinion about this.
See, that's what happened though. Is that's where the DC got power.
In 2016, it seems like now everybody has an opinion about something. Like politics is so mainstream and like everything now.
It's funny because I had friends and stuff that would always, because I was always a really political one amongst the people I know, the friends I have. And then now, ever since the BLM thing, everybody's an expert now. I mean, so they think. I've been one of the people that has been like talking about politics for a very long time and been very open with what I believe. And then all of a sudden, I got all these friends of mine that are just like now jumping on the politics bandwagon.
It seems like you can't exist in 2020 without
a political opinion.
Yeah.
Well, because they say, what do they say? They say, silence is
violence.
Silence is violence, or you're complicit, or whatever.
Violence.
Yeah, it's so stupid, man. You're a bad guy no matter what if you don't agree 100% with their philosophy.
But you can agree with the chant, though, right? Donald Trump, KKK,
racist, sexist, anti-gay. So stupid, dude. To them that's protesting, man. Where if you go to like MLK, Martin Luther King, and stuff, that was like a real protest where they actually got stuff done. The thing is when you're protesting.
What do you mean you get stuff done? I saw that lady walk out with the cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory in Seattle.
She got what she wanted, man.
Did you see the guy walking out of Target with a Lego set during the riots? There's this guy walking out with the Lego
for his kids. Oh my gosh, man, that's so stupid. They go destroy their own communities in the name of justice. So
dude,
stupid.
Did you see that? It was a video that was going around from the LA riots when the Rodney King thing happened. There was a black guy just yelling at all these rioters saying like, like I was in your position and I built something. I, started this business. He had a store, and now you destroyed it. Like you're destroying your own community,
your own people. That's exactly what they're doing. They're very. Because most of them don't really give a shit about the politics. They're just like, oh shit, that store got a broken window. I'm gonna go in there and get a TV.
There was some people protesting with the George Floyd incident, which I support. I support any form of protesting.
Absolutely, it's freedom. It's their freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, if you disagree with the protest too, that's okay. If you say I
do.
That's their right to protest. I disagree with their message, but it's the right to protest.
I do think there was some people though, like it became such a popular thing that I feel like there's some people that
many that just jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, there's so many people that took pictures there and they were like posing and stuff.
Well, it's just to make them say it's virtue signaling.
Yeah,
this is how good of a person I am because I support this. That's all it's about. Whereas me, I notice everybody like sheep all posted the black screen. You go
I
look at
didn't post it.
you go look at my IG, your IG, like people that actually are free thinkers that have an opinion that differs from that. We didn't go post that because we're not sheep, man. We have our own beliefs. We're not gonna. Even if I did agree with it, I probably wouldn't have posted black screen just because I'm not gonna just go do what everyone else does. For some reason, my whole life it's always been this way. I've always liked to just be on the contrary. I like to just.
That's
be
why you
what's
got an
not popular.
iPhone.
No, that's different. No, I'll tell you what. iPhones and Apple products, man, they just run so smooth. They're just so much more user friendly. That's different. Like I just went and bought a MacBook Pro recently too. I had a Windows computer, and they're just like they always have bugs. I always get viruses. I got my MacBook Pro. Just
Don't
runs
watch
so
porn.
Smooth. I don't. Well, not on the Windows computer. Let me put that way. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So I've always just been that way where I'm just like when I see a bunch of people like a
Matt,
giant
you
thing.
didn't post a black square. You posted a white square.
I did. I'll actually, you know what? Shameless plug. Should I shamelessly plug my Instagram?
If you want.
So
if you're gonna get a bunch of hate, think about Matthew Walker, KKK, racist, sexist, anti-gay.
Not even. I support all racist
You
colors
are
and creeds.
anti-gay.
But yeah, so Matt J. Walker, no black screen, no white screen like Victor's. I'm not a bigot, but I'm a news personality. It says.
News personality. You don't work at the Post anymore, right?
I don't know. Do you?
No. Who also works there?
I know.
I'm pretty sure Alec does.
Alec, I feel like Alec's gonna end up at Pierce College. I feel like he really likes it there, so he'll probably end up working there. But I know Alec works there. Catherine works there. Alyssa, Lexi, Teresa, Adele. I know Adele and Catherine are temporary. They're only gonna be working there through like September 20 something, and then that's it. Hannah, everyone else is gone. You're not working there anymore?
No, because that Zoom call that they had,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, hey, join the Zoom call if you want to get rehired.
Yeah.
I was planning on doing it, but then I just fell asleep and I just overslept. And I was
my buddy Cody. Shout out to my buddy Cody. He just sent me a message. Anyways.
But yeah, I just overslept and I was like, well, I guess I'm not working there.
Oh, really?
I was fine with it. I was like, all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I just.
It is a little sad though. I kind of wish we could all have hung out. More of like a official ceremonial type of.
I guess we kind of did at Teresa's place that day.
Kind of, yeah, but.
Yeah, for me, it was just like, I just, I worked there. I kind of got what I wanted out of it. And then I realized, just over the time, like, yeah, I'm not really interested in being a journalist anymore. But I loved working there. I was kind of toxic at times, but I did love working there. But I'm just like, I got a new full-time job now.
Talk about, now that you and I are both not employed.
Should we talk about, I'm employed. I got insurance.
No, you and
I. Oh,
I
not employed with the Post. Okay, yeah.
Talk about 2019, the Matt Walker roast.
We're not talking about no Matt Walker roast.
Matt Walker got roasted.
I got roasted. It was a Matt Walker roast. Hey, it's okay though. I can handle it. That's the thing.
You can handle it. You came back after the meeting. You were all pissed off as we walked around the college. You were just talking shit about the whole thing.
Well, it was stupid. Well,
just talk about it.
I love the Post. I love Teresa. I love everyone. I just love everyone. But I don't know when you're.
Talk about the Black History Museum.
But I didn't agree with their philosophy, their ideology, so I got in trouble for it basically with Adele and
talk about the Black History Museum.
What about
when
it?
you went to DC?
I just said because they were trying to say, oh, America's this racist place. And I was like, America's not this racist place. And then some random person saw me saying that to Adele, who was a coworker of ours, African American young lady, very intelligent, very awesome. I actually really liked Adele, but saw me saying that, thought that I was like attacking her or something, and was like, you need to go away and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm just saying America's not this racist place. But
dang, man, didn't you see Antifa over there too?
I did. No, I saw the Black Hebrew Israelites, which are like terrible, like super racist group of black individuals. Totally anti-white. Saw them, and then 2 weeks later, after we left DC, one of them ended up like committing a murder, like killed someone, and then their whole organization came down. But yeah, we saw them, and I actually have it on video. Saw them with Adele. Adele didn't like them either, which is interesting. But yeah, no, they were just yelling.
Just because Adele's black, she has to be on board with everything black people do.
I did not say that, but she that's a really Adele tends to be left leaning. They're very left leaning as well. I don't know what the heck their ideology is, to be completely honest, but they're saying like, I don't know, they're just being really racist towards white people pretty much the whole time. And it was right outside, not too far away from the White House.
I think with today's standards, there is no racism towards white people.
Towards white people?
Yeah.
See, that's total bogus.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying in popular media. If someone from the left,
they say there's no such thing because they say that racism has to be directed towards a minority group. That's not the definition. The definition is you believe you're better because of your skin color. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever. You can be a black person, be racist towards white people, and there's plenty of those out there too. But yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about the whole argument about, defunding the police?
I definitely disagree with that. I mean, I think if anything, they need more funding to stop that from happening, and also to weed out the bad people that are trying to put themselves.
I think there should be some reform in the sense of make it harder to be a cop, more training.
Absolutely, yeah. It was Jocko, Jocko Willink. He's like a Navy SEAL. He's kind of getting bigger now. He even developed his own line of supplements, so we can get into that. But no, we won't get into that. But he's kind of getting bigger now in the conservative area and also in the self-development kind of community. But he came out and he's a Navy SEAL. He said just identifying, everything that's going on, that he can tell that the police officers are suffering from a lack of training. Because they get like one long training program when they're originally hired.
Joe Rogan brought that up too. People go into the martial arts and they wouldn't know anything about self-defense, really. Yeah,
about like hand-to-hand combat, defending themselves that way and, de-escalating a situation without, having to use, lethal force. And a lot of them also don't even get that much like firearms training. They get like once a year they have to qualify, and that's it. They get like one thing a year. So I just think the police officers need more training, and that doesn't mean training on how not to be racist. That's ridiculous. They're not. None of them are. Well, some of them, a limited amount are racist, but most of them, racism isn't that big of an issue in 2020, man. The only reason it's a big issue now is because. Yeah, because everyone talks about
Morgan
it.
Freeman said, how do you, someone brought it up racism to him. He's, how do you solve it? He's like, stop talking about it.
Yeah, stop freaking talking about it. Stop giving it. It's just like when they were doing with like the big mass shootings, when they give the mass shooter all this attention, they put their name up there, their manifesto, then the next potential would-be mass shooter sees that like, oh man, I'm a person that feels that's really depressed, that feels like I'm not understood, but this person's getting all this clout for killing a bunch of people. I'm gonna go recreate the same thing. Or like when someone jumps off the Empire State Building, they put police officers on top of there the next day because copycats will go and doing the same thing. So that's the thing is you can't give the bad people so much clout, and you also can't give the racism so much attention, because then all you're doing is fomenting more and creating more.
Yeah,
that's why I see it.
What are your last words, Matt?
Last words. This is Titanic Zombies podcast. Make sure to give it a follow. I'm sure I'll be back. So if you like this, drop a like, drop a comment. Follow me on Instagram, Matt J Walker. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Sweet. That was episode 6.